I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Malone will inbound. Fisher's in the game. Walton, O'Neal, and of course Bryant.
And everyone is paying attention to Kobe Bryant.
They start with Shaq. He gives it to Walton. Here comes Kobe. Less than 5 from way outside. Got it! Oh, man! With 2.1.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Game 3 tonight, and we're going to do more as well. Welcome to another installment of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. I am joined by my tag team partner. The dynamic duo was here. Brian Snow is along with me. And along this show, we're going to speak USFL with Sam Shady at the bottom of this hour. The top of the next hour, we will talk to the BS3 Network owner, Ben Sudderth III. We'll probably talk a little bit about Cowboys and maybe even some Maverick stuff and a little bit more. Bottom of the second hour, of course, we will enter Boom Shakalaka with Chris Bates. The top of the third hour, we will talk NFL with Mike Debate. And then we'll debut a new segment called Mike to Mike, as Brian will interview Todd Hamilton of Murray State. But we always begin the show now with the following. Welcome to the wraparound, and we're going to start in Anaheim where Shohei Ohtani, yes, the pitcher / designated hitter extraordinaire, he was presented the game ball. Why? Because the Angels broke their 14-game losing streak by the Red Sox.
Can you believe it?
Yes.
Can you believe it? They won it. They won a game.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
now do it more often.
Yes. First game they've won in about half a month. Yeah, I give them mad credit. Let's send some love to the chat. Robert Kasakoff. Thank you, sir. Glad that you're here, sir. Oh,
Absolutely glad that you're here.
Cool, but not under Kuma King, but under Eagles Elite. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good morning to you, sir.
Yep.
Robert says
the Eagles Elite Eagles Elite podcast.
Yeah. Robert says seeing a ton of Celtics jerseys on kids these days. You're right, and he's in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And an Angels fan. I feel so sorry for you, sir.
So we're international again. I love it.
Yes. We will be joined by another international superstar in Sig Diggy, because he'll come all over from Scandinavia. Heck, I don't have to spend any more time on that one. All right, let's go.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I don't think I have to. So yeah, let's bounce to the next story. To Oklahoma as they secured the Women's College World Series for the second consecutive year. Was the whole year ever in doubt? I mean, they only lost 3 games the entire season.
The entire season.
Yeah,
they were dominant. They were absolutely dominant.
Yeah, and this game was pretty much not in doubt, and it was indicative of how the season went for women's college softball. It just was.
Yep.
It just was a wonderful performance by all. So I just had to give congratulations to the ladies. You all did your thing, and you all have done things that your men's basketball and men's football team have lacked to do, and that is actually be a win a national championship. Be an actual winning program. So yes, will they go for the three-peat? Well, we'll see next June, but congratulations to you guys. Wonderful job all around. Gerrit Cole, the 300.
Next year we're going to try to be at the Women's College World Series.
Cool. All right, cool.
That's a goal.
That is a goal. Gerrit Cole, the $324 million man. He's not looking
who can't cheat anymore.
He's not looking so good now, is he? He gave up home runs to his first three batters and in only 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 runs in said 2 1/3 innings. And to tell you how little the Yankees really need him, they rallied from that early debacle and deficit in Minneapolis to beat the Twins 10-7. It almost seems
time to cut him.
Yes, it almost seems as if the Yankees put money in the toilet and decided to flush it in regards to Gerrit Cole. The thought that he was going to be, the thought he was going to be the same pitcher as he was with the Pirates and as he was with the Astros, it just isn't panning out, and it's unfortunate. Oh, Christopher Dietz, good morning to you, sir. He says $300 million cheater. Yeah,
yep.
His heart has warmed because he always wanted to be a Yankee, and now he's a Yankee, and he's disappointing.
And he sucks.
And I love
and he
it.
Sucks.
And
Me too.
Dietz also
Me
says,
too.
Dietz also says, Angels winning is more important than a hockey brawl after the game. Oh boy, Robert says thank you for the shout out. Hey, no problem, brother.
We love you. We love you, Robert. Part of the RP squad, and I'll have Rod Peterson on next week, next Thursday, as a matter of fact. So excited to have him.
Oh, so you definitely fam. Okay, we got you. All right. Well, we don't have to talk about Gerrit Cole anymore. Why not?
No, move on.
So, Drew Brees is out. Who is in? NBC Sports has chosen former Dallas Cowboys head coach, puppet, Jason Garrett.
Dear God.
Jason Garrett is going to replace Drew Brees on his Sunday Night Football pregame show. So, of course, he was fired early last year as the Giants offensive coordinator, and he's been serving as the color commentator for the NBC brand during the USFL games this spring. So he's getting some reps in. Look.
Again, dear God, why?
The only way this will work is if Jerry Jones is in the control booth telling him exactly word for word verbatim what to say.
and of course, Jerry Jones has his own problems.
Yes.
Jerry Jones has his own issues. Next.
Well, you said next. I say next as well. Jason Garrett. Never mind. The NAACP president is calling for the Commanders defensive coordinator Jack Rio's job because of his dust-up remark that he said in a press conference alluding to January 6, 2001's insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Now, the day after he did so, he also apologized, but also on that same day, I can't believe this is actually being said. So the president of the NAACP, Derek Johnson, said, I almost don't even want to read it, but I'll do it anyway. Quote, "It is time for Jack Del Rio to resign or be terminated. His comments could not have been more offensive and arrogant and ignorant. The January 6th insurrection, an attempted coup, was far from a dust-up. Each day we learn more and more on just how close our democracy came to an autocracy. Downplaying the insurrection by comparing it to nationwide protests, which were in response to public lynchings, is twisted. You can't coach a majority black team while turning your back on the black community. It's time you pack up and step off the field." Close quote.
That is some of the most idiotic stuff I've ever heard in my life. What in the Vita blue, yellow-bellied, red-blooded hell was that quote?
Okay.
Don't ever read that again.
Okay, let's get this straight. Let's get this absolutely understood. Jack Del Rio has been a player. He has been a head coach, and he has been a defensive coordinator for many a decade now. he's not a bigot. He's not a racist. What he is a person who just isn't literate with how things are in terms of how life is for him and how life is for others. You know what that's called? An opportunity for education. So to call for this man's job is utterly ludicrous. No, Del Rio does not deserve to be fired. He does not deserve to resign, and he shouldn't be called out for it. What he should be called out for is a conversation to be had so he can be educated on why you have certain people who think that the way that they do, and why they would look at him and say, why did that come out your mouth? That's it. That's all that needs to happen. But
that's it. That's all.
Job, right. But to call for his job, to call for his job.
Bitch, are you for real?
Enough of this. All right.
Next
subject. So we have a situation. We have Deshaun Watson, who was a former Texans quarterback. Now he is the current, possible starting quarterback for the Browns. And the Browns ownership, should they ask for him to go? Well, someone says it's time for Jimmy and Dee Haslam, the owners of the Browns, to address the civil lawsuit facing Deshaun Watson and take some of the responsibility off of the head coach, Kevin Stefanski. One, why? Two, the reason why the Haslams hired someone like Stefanski was to actually be the face of this of the organization and franchise, so that he can speak on their behalf. Because what they can do as owners is actually say to Kevin, hey, Kev, I want you to say this on our behalf. They can easily say that. We may not like it, but that's how it rolls. But you know what Jimmy and Dee are doing right now? They are in their prayer closet. They're saying, oh, dear God, spare Deshaun. I want all 24 of those women to be hoes and land. I want them to basically be money-hungry hoes and just simply get all of them out in these trials, which takes place next year, and just simply get rid of them. And then have grace and mercy on Roger Goodell, and he could just simply let this stuff slide and not have him be suspended for a full year. Please, please, because our franchise has sucked for 25 years. You see, that is what the Haslams need to be doing. Not anything else. That's what they need to be doing. And that concludes the Rip Around. Robert says, Rod just got prime time. That is awesome. Oh, man. That is family. Rob Peterson.
I love it.
Family. I love it. Congratulations to you guys. And also, congratulations on the 3-year anniversary of your show. Great show.
Great guy, great show. I mean, great fans all around. Yes. Great to know them.
Deeds, we're here. He says, stop. Jack Del Rio is a football coach, not a political analyst. Thank you. Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. Informed, as Robert says. Indeed says the Cleveland Browns, the same team that signed Kareem Hunt after what he did in Kansas City. Yeah,
Kansas City.
And for those who don't know, he was in I think it was it Toledo or Cleveland? Oh, I think it was actually Cleveland hotel. And he was caught on camera smacking the crap out of a woman. Yeah. But yes, and they now have him on the team after that happened. Yes.
And that belongs in the category. And that belongs in the category of, and then that happened.
Yes, and then that happened.
Good grief.
Yes. All right.
Good grief.
Well, that's how we begin this and every episode, the Whip Around. And we're going to take a small breather. And when we come back, we will preview Game 4, and we will review the first 3 games also of the NBA Finals. And I got to put somebody, and I know this might be kind of callous, but I'm still going to do it, on the hot seat. You are listening and you're watching the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson show. We'll be right back right after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, ma'am, all you have to do is go on the official SIT Morn. That is official SIT Morn. That is how we do things here on the Instagram or Twitter thing. Back at it, Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson, and I'll address the chat in a sec, but we have to get just a slight bit of housekeeping done. So if you want to comment like Robert, like Sig normally does, like the Eagles Elite Podcast / Cool McCain and others like Deets as well, we are live. Of course, we're live on the BS3 network via Roku TV. Thank you, guys. We are also live on the Real Wise Radio Network. Thank you for that. And of course, we're live in other areas too, from the list for your listening pleasure. And if you want to comment like they are Facebook Live, we're live now. And on YouTube, we are live. Just go to youtube.com/C/Snowman in the Morning 50. The Snowman in the Morning 50. And you will be amongst the SITM fam. And the comments are the lifeblood of this show. We love it. We get used from you. And while you're there on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell. Don't be bashful. And of course, we're also newly on official SITmorn.com. Now, speaking of the fam, Robert asked this question. Is it true that a Cleveland Browns player had a wedding and only some Browns were invited, retired Browns selected, and Odell Beckham Jr. was not invited and the wedding crashed? No, that wasn't it. It was, and you said it later. It was Sean McVay. He had a wedding. Odell wasn't invited, but he crashed the party. But to hear McVay tell it, he actually loved it. He actually loved it. And yes, we will. Anybody
crash my?
Go ahead.
If anybody would have crashed my wedding, they'd have got a foot putting them. That's my special day. Me and Jody's. I
agree. Dietz will be talking about what we just said now in about a few minutes. He says game 4 of the boring NBA Finals. Of course, we know that's sarcasm because Dietz is a hardcore Celtics fan. Now, to end the housekeeping bit and things, we have to get this important information out there. So let's do it now. Day number 10 of 100 Days to Carolina is underway. And what is this 100 Days to Carolina? Well, with more on that, I turn it over to my partner.
100 Days to Carolina is an initiative that I'm putting together because I want my wife and I to have a little peace. And this recovery from cancer, or going through everything just in the past year, has put a tremendous strain on us. So if you see the scroll at the bottom of the screen, that's where we need your help. We need help from any and everybody. So if you can donate to any of the links that you see below, in particular the GoFundMe, we can achieve our goal within the next 90 days of $60,000 to cover any cost and any contingency to get us back home. That is our goal, to get us to get us back home. And beginning Monday, I'm really going to push the GoFundMe. In fact, I'm going to try to push it this weekend. But there's opportunity waiting for us. There are chances waiting for us, and we got to just dive in and take it. And the other reason I'm doing this is because I want to take a lot of the financial burden off of my wife. She has been tremendous in my care, in my medical knowledge, and in getting through everything. She's my rock. And now I want to be the rock for her. And that's 100 Days to Carolina.
Game 4, NBA Finals of the boring NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics, who are up 2-1, and the grizzled veteran Golden State Warriors squad. All right, so we saw in the 16-point victory that the Celtics put on the Warriors that the Celtics put a premium on crashing the boards, eliminating second chance opportunities for the Warriors while actually creating more second chance opportunities for themselves, and forcing the Warriors to be more of a perimeter shooting team, which that is not an easy task to do, but that's what they did. And now the Warriors have to get back to basics. And when I mean basics, I mean their basics. As for the Celtics, they just have to do what they've been doing. They just simply have to continue to lean on the Warriors, make them know that they're stronger, they are more physical, and they're even more athletic than the Warriors are. And to me, you have to force this team to play defense as much as you possibly can. The more you have them play defense, the more you tire them out on offense.
And what did I say at the top of the finals? Make the Warriors play laterally. And that's what the Celtics have brilliantly done. Brilliantly done.
And great point. And that takes athleticism to defend sideline to sideline. That takes a lot of athleticism. That is something, not saying that the Warriors suck at it, but that's something that they don't have in big supply of. They have it in spurts, but you have to understand, you have one guy who's 30, one guy's 32, one guy who's 30, one guy who's 34, and that's their core. They got a lot of mileage. A lot of tread has been on those tires. So you force them to do that, your chances of beating them are greater. So that's there. Here's the hope for the Warriors, though. Can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown put forth the offensive performances they did in Game 3 in the next possible four games that they have to play? Of course, the answer to that question is no, but if it leans more toward yes in terms of they get close to at least scoring 25 points each, then the task for the Warriors is harder, but the task is easier if they can have Brown or Tatum have one of those off shooting nights. If they could do that, their chances are greater, because then you get them in their head, you get them to start doubting. And you start to get Marcus Smart to doubting, and then they will force stuff. And when the Celtics force things on offense, that's when you get the turnovers. And if the Warriors get the turnovers, we saw what happened in the third quarter in Game 2, that will happen again. So if there is hope for the Warriors, it's right there for the taking. Now, I will say this. The Celtics have outplayed the Warriors, I would say, since Game 2, the first quarter, barring the third quarter, Game 2, because to me, if you to hang with the Warriors even at home, I mean at the Warriors home in San Francisco, to me, you outplayed them, in my opinion. You hang with them, you've outplayed them. So, for exception of one quarter from Game 2, and the
Celtics have beaten the Warriors.
Yeah.
So the Celtics have beaten the Warriors.
So with the exception of the third quarter in Game 2 and the third quarter of Game 3, the Celtics have owned the Warriors. And I really do mean the word owned, because the physicality is starting to take its toll. Now, the Warriors in Game 1, they controlled the first three quarters of that game. And they were fluid in their offensive efficiency. That's what they need to get back to doing. And I've said this often, it's almost a running joke. The Warriors have to get the Celtics to be a defensive cha-cha. They have to make them think, okay, we got to stop them from the perimeter, and then hit them with backdoor cuts. And then when they hit them with one backdoor cut after another backdoor cut after another backdoor cut, then the defense slides back toward the post, slide back toward the rim, and they say, okay, we got to have as many people protect the rim so we can stop these backdoor cuts, and then they can bomb away from the perimeter. That's what the Warriors do best. And if they get away from that, which they have, they can be easily beaten.
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing is, people aren't saying this, and this is what's so frustrating to me. They aren't saying any of that stuff. No, they're saying stuff, such as, well, Draymond only had 2 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He sucked in Game 3. Well, he admitted it. He admitted in the post game, he said he played like, and he said he just didn't really get in the rhythm, both offensive and defensive. He just couldn't find his groove, which unfortunately, we are talking about human beings. That happens. I mean, did you ask the same question of Jason Tatum, because he was completely off in Game 1? No, you didn't ask them that for two reasons. One, they won the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And they just do it to the Warriors. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They just do it to the Warriors.
Yeah.
These fanalists.
Yeah.
These fanalists piss me off.
Yeah. You didn't ask him that question because one, the Celtics won the game, and two, he actually had a decent output in terms of he had 13 assists in the game. So he found another way to win. Now, Draymond could not find another way to win in game 3. In game 2, he did not have that great a stat line, but you talked about him, and he was in the Celtics' head. Why? Because we talked about this yesterday. He's an irritant. You need irritants on a championship team because not everybody is built to score, and not everybody is asked to score either. So if you know that someone has the role of scoring and someone has the role of distribution, which actually, if it all runs the way it's supposed to run, Draymond actually does, but he's not the guy who facilitates everything that happens. Then that's when you have to say, okay, well, wait a minute. He's not flowing. Cool. I will say it that way. He's not flowing, but to say he's garbage and he's trash, no. He's neither.
And why is the hatred? I'll ask this question again and again and again. Since the Warriors clinched their spot in the NBA World Championship Series, why is the hatred so? You fill in the blank and answer the question. Why is it so out there? That's all I can come up with right now.
Why is the hatred so pervasive? Why is the hatred so?
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yeah. Why is the hatred so pervasive? Well, of course, I have many answers to that question. One, I look at the skin tone of both Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. Two, I look at how. I look at how they play, because I think, other than of course letting people know how this affects the judgment in here for many, the level of play is different, and that also is sort of called this as well. Yeah, because being athletic is considered, I'll put it out there, being athletic is considered black. Having a skill that's considered white, but it's not any. If you're athletic, you can look any sort of way. If you are skilled, you can look any old sort of way. It doesn't matter. So to me, you have those two reasons, and then they've been on top for 7 years. And yes, I know they took a huge fall in 2020, and they didn't make the playoffs, but they made the play-in round 2021. But people were talking about, we need to see this dynasty die. In those 2 years, they did not make it to the finals, because the other 5 years they have, and this year they have. So you're seeing this talk because you got a lot of people who are sick of seeing the Warriors be on top. But I think it's that with the way they play. And if they had a dynamic Skywalker, I bet you the tone would change. I bet you the tone would be different. Like if Ja Morant was on this team, the tone would be different. They'd say,
they got James. Well, they're going to have James Wiseman next year, fully healthy.
Yeah. They'll say, well, I can't stand that Curry guy. I mean, all he does is shoot. And I can't stand that Klay guy because all he does is shoot. And sometimes he doesn't shoot. Sometimes he doesn't shoot the way he should until certain games. But this Ja guy, oh, did you see that dunk he did? ... Or did you see the way did you see the way he broke ... ankles? ... The level of play also dictates the analysis of how the pervasive negativity of the Warriors happens to be. Quick going to the chat. Cool says, let's go. Because I know he's for the Celtics. Ryan says, good morning, gents. And good morning to everyone watching. Happy Hawaiian shirt Friday. Yes, happy Don Nelson Friday to you too, sir. D says the Warriors follow Draymond Green. They're front runners. When things don't go their way, they fold. If we got some time today,
I agree
want
with
to
that.
yeah. If we got some time, I want to address that because you're on point, Deets. He also says, and watch out for Clay tonight. The Garden's going to eat him alive after what he said about the fans at the game 3. Yes. What I said here,
Yeah.
I will also say that here too. Eagles elite or cool. The Warriors take games off. Yes. And you need to find a way to break
Yeah, they have.
And you need to find a way to break the streak of no back-to-back losses. Draymond should have been kicked out of game 2. Yeah, but you knew he was.
Sorry about that.
Deed says, I hate Draymond because he handled Cleveland. He handed Cleveland a championship when he landed a low blow on LeBron. Well, actually, I won't go into that. I want to, but I'm not. Eagles elite.
Save that for later.
I will. Personally, when they were running around and saying Dylan Brooks broke the code, but Draymond Green is the Ric Flair of the NBA, and they overlook his multitude of transgressions, that turned me off of them. Yeah. Ryan says NBA fans hate the Warriors like most NHL fans hate the Lightning. They want to see Dynasty Sand. Yeah. And it's that, but it's also.
And you just mentioned that.
Yeah. It's that, but it's also more than that, too. And it's unfortunate that that's the case. All right. We are about to be joined by a guest, and he always comes this time every Friday around 8:35, 8:40 in the morning. Talking all things USFL, we welcome Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
How are you, man?
I definitely cannot complain. How about yourself?
The same. I can't complain. It's all good. It's all good. So we are in week number 9, is it, of the USFL 2.0 season number 1. All right, if you have to break down the season in terms of success, failure, how would that be?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said if you have to break down how season 1 has gone, in your opinion, has it been a success, has it been a failure, and why would you say it's been, whichever your answer would be?
Overall, I would say it's been a success. Long story short, I mean, when you're looking at the gameplay, it's competitive. The games are fun to watch. You're not watching too many blowouts. There's a lot of parity in the league. The quarterback play has been better than we thought. Coaching's been pretty solid. So there's a lot of reasons to like the USFL in year 1, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. And
I actually agree. I actually agree with that because some players have stood out. Some players have stepped into roles that they didn't think that they would be. And you had some surprises along the way. So I agree with Sam with that assessment.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. And I hope this is a good springboard for them for season 2, because if they have a feel for how the league is supposed to look and they know how the product is going to look, then I think they have an idea as to what they need to do and how they need to attack it.
I would agree.
Okay, so we are nearing the playoffs. Of course, we got 2 more weeks to go this weekend and next. And so far, we have the Stallions who've clinched. Of course, they've clinched because they haven't lost a game yet. The Generals have clinched, and your beloved Stars have clinched. What has been the keys to each team being in the playoffs thus far?
Oh, okay. Well, as far as the Stars go, the recent keys to them being in the playoffs have been Case Cookus. He's coming off one of the best games of the season by any quarterback, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. He had a 79-yard run. Him and Matt Colburn have combined for a timely offensive explosion. Let's put it that way. Colburn scored 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So with us finally finding a run game, it's helped us finally pick up a couple victories in a row rather than alternating wins and losses all season long like we have been. As far as the New Jersey Generals, I think that their run game is just carrying their team. DeAndre Johnson was almost unstoppable at points in time throughout the season. Trey Williams, Darius Victor, same thing. Darius Victor is actually leading the league in rushing touchdowns, and I think that's a big reason why you see the Generals looking nearly unbeatable at this point. And then as far as the Stallions go, the Stallions are just a really well-rounded team. I believe that the big reason that they're winning so many games is that they minimize mistakes and they focus on situational football. It actually almost kind of reminds me a lot of the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick, because they focus on, like I said, situational football and not making mistakes. So they're going to run the ball, they're going to play defense, they're going to protect the ball, and ultimately that's how they're going to win games. And we've seen it all season long.
And that's how they beat New Orleans 10-9 in one of the lowest scoring games of the year. The energy, they matched the energy of New Orleans, especially after New Orleans took the lead, but the Stallions only needed one drive to go down and get the winning points.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we know those are the three that are in at the moment. There's going to be four that's going to go into the postseason. So it basically means the Gamblers, the Maulers, and the Panthers are eliminated, which means one of these two teams will make it. It will be either the New Orleans Breakers or the Tampa Bay Bandits. All right, I know these two teams play against each other once more. Who do you think is going to win? And if you think the team that's going to win is not going to make it, which I believe that would be that'd be the Bandits. If they were to beat the Breakers, do you see them not making the playoffs?
Yeah, man, this is a tough question to answer because there's two ways that this can break out. Mm-hmm. So right now, as it sits, as we just talked about, the Stallions are already 8-0. They've already cinched first place in the division. There's really no reason for them to continue to play all their starters and to continue to put forth 100% of effort towards victories. I mean, they're really not going to gain anything. Really, the only thing they're doing is risking players to injury heading into the playoffs. And they are the Bandits' opponent in Week 10. So even if the Bandits beat New Orleans this week, if they can't beat Stallions next week, they're not going to make the playoffs. So there's a situation where it depends on what the Stallions do. So if the Bandits win this weekend and they're able to beat the Breakers, that puts them at 5-4 apiece. But to break that tie, like I said, they have to beat the Stallions. So it's just one of those things where I think if the Stallions start all their players, they play their full effort, there's no chance that Tampa Bay is going to beat them. But if they start resting guys, it's Week 10, they're trying to avoid getting injuries, and you see a bunch of the backups, the Bandits might have enough for them.
All right. So they do face off this Sunday. Kickoff is at 4 Eastern. And be televised on Fox. If you were to say who's going to win this game, who would it be?
I would put my money on New Orleans. Both of these teams have been inconsistent, and that's putting it lightly. Especially Kyle Sloter. I've been calling him the best quarterback in the league for a couple, really 5 or 7 weeks now at this point. And he's had 3 games in the last 5 weeks, I think it is, with multiple interceptions, 2 or more. So it's really discouraging to see him playing that way, especially heading into the playoffs. And it's really disappointing to see, like I said, because he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, and I ultimately had a lot of high hopes for him tearing up the USFL, which he has at times. It just seems like he gets to the point where he's playing hero ball and kind of going down that Brett Favre path where he's like, I'll throw an interception as long as I was aiming for a touchdown.
Wow. Shady of the Shady Sports Network is joining us talking USFL. What are your thoughts on that?
So what do you think happened to Kyle Sloter where he just like slid down into Brett Favre mode, like you said?
I think it's a lack of a run game. Most of the season, it basically the mantra for the New Orleans Breakers has been play defense and protect the ball. But the thing is, without a run game to support that defense, you're asking your quarterback to throw the ball 40 times a game. So if he's throwing it that much, you're going to have interceptions. It's bound to happen, especially when the defense is able to key on the pass game. And this past weekend was a perfect example. You see 40 passing attempts, you see 23 run attempts. So over 2/3 of your offense was the passing game. It may have been the short passing game, which is kind of an extension of the run game. But at the same time, the defense is still keying on the pass. They're still keying on the quarterback. They're still watching the quarterback's eyes. So there's going to be those turnovers. And unfortunately, it's the same situation we see in Tampa Bay. They can't get a run game going. They're relying on the quarterback way too much. And right now, it's kind of funny to see that they're both having similar issues, and they're heading into the playoffs needing to beat each other to make it.
Weird situation. Very weird situation.
That's a weird situation. All right. I will ask you a somewhat a Homer-ish question. So the Northern Division is going to come down possibly to your Stars and the Generals in Week 10. Do you think that game will be for the Northern Division?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a really good question. Ultimately, no, I do not. I think the Generals are just rolling right now. And really, I said it this past week on our USFL Week in Review. I would take the Generals with Kyle Laletta starting, their current third-string quarterback, over 4 or 5 teams in the league with their current starting quarterback, and still pick them for victory. And I think that basically if the Generals win one more game, the Stars no longer have an opportunity. They would have to win out, and the Generals would have to lose out in order for them to get the first place. So I really just don't think it's going to happen. As much as I would love to see it, I kind of question how much of an advantage it really is with home field not being on the table anyway. But we'll see exactly how the playoffs shake out. I honestly think the Generals are they're the best team in the North right now, and I don't think it's really close.
All right. Here's a question I have to ask both of you gentlemen. So the playoffs will not take place in Birmingham. It will take place in Canton. Do you think that is a good move that they don't have the playoffs in Birmingham as well? Or do you think it's a bad move? Brian, I'll start with you first, sir.
I think it's a bad move because you had everything set up. You had all the camps set up in Birmingham. The fans have gotten used to being there in Birmingham. I think you just need to complete the season there. And if you have the playoffs in Birmingham, I think more fans turn out, and not just for the Stallions either. Sam gave a stat a couple of weeks ago that the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL average 27,000 fans per game, and the Stallions are averaging what was the number he gave? About 11,000 per game in a stadium that holds about for their home games. In a stadium that holds about 40,000. You need to keep it in one place. I just feel you need to keep it where you started it, so you can build that consistency, and then you break that and then you break that off into games for the home games for the different teams in the league.
Yeah.
I would completely, how do I want to say this? So I like what Brian said. I do think that there is a lot of momentum in Birmingham at this point, but I think that there was a way that they could have used Canton in a better manner. If it were me, I would have picked Canton as my north hub and then had Birmingham as my south hub. So all the south teams play home games in Birmingham. All the north teams play home games in Canton.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, granted, Canton's still pretty far from Philadelphia, from Pittsburgh, stuff like that, but it's still an easier trip to make it to Canton than it is all the way down to Birmingham for anybody up in the Northern Division, anybody who's a fan of those teams. So I think that would have helped attendance a little bit. But with that being said, I think ultimately, like I said, you've got the momentum in Birmingham. Birmingham's obviously rolling. So there is a lot of an argument that could be said that it might be better to just keep all the games in Birmingham, given that that's how the season's progressed. I mean, if we had maybe had the 2 hubs from week 1, I could see the logic. But with it being, all in Birmingham up to this point, it's going to be kind of a weird change to go from, we've played in Protective Stadium for 80 games now, or 40 games now, and then we're going to walk into the playoffs and we're going to go to a totally different stadium in a totally different state and see how the fans are going to react there. And that's something that kind of scares me a little, because the attendance has been iffy in Birmingham. What happens if the attendance is worse in Canton for the playoffs?
In Canton, exactly.
That's a wonderful, wonderful, well, both of you, wonderful analysis. It made me think, man, if they really wanted to have a home field advantage all the way, you could have had the Northern teams play somewhere. It didn't necessarily have to be Canton. It could have been somewhere in the North. Have the Southern teams playing Birmingham, and whoever had the higher record going into the championship game, it would be on whichever division's home stadium. To me, that would have been the thought process, but who am I? Man, we could talk more and more about USFL stuff with you, brother. You were just so full of knowledge. So where can the people find you, Sam?
We're basically everywhere. Basically, if you're really interested in following Shady Sports Network, just go to Google, type in Shady Sports Network. You'll probably get about 800 results back at this point, because we're basically, like I said, everywhere. We're pumping out a lot of content right now. We're kind of getting that podcast rolling. So, we're a little bit of everywhere. Before I got off of here, I did want to throw out there that in case you haven't paid attention, the Major League of Football did make some pretty big announcements this past week. They announced 2 of their team names, which were kind of already floated out there, the Virginia Armada and the Ohio Force. And they announced 2 stadiums where they'll be playing. So it sounds like they're not going to play in a hub season, which is kind of cool. And one of the stadiums they're going to play in is actually Tom Benson Stadium, the Hall of Fame stadium, where USFL will be playing their playoffs as well. So just kind of a small coincidence there. And then the other stadium they announced was the Virginia Beach Sports Complex, I think it's called. And that is a stadium I've never even heard before. So I'm not sure how big it is, what they're planning on for crowd size and stuff like that. But I thought it was kind of interesting that we're finally getting like meat on the bone for the Major League Football.
Wow, that is good to know.
Good.
That is good to know. Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network. Before you go, Cool of the Eagles Elite Podcast wanted to send this to you. #FlyEaglesFly.
Absolutely. Good morning, Cool, and Fly Eagles Fly. And just to throw this out there, closer to the season, me, Cool, and a couple other guys will be doing an NFC Beast episode on his channel, I believe. So definitely check that out. We'll have a Washington Redskins fan, Commanders fan, sorry about that, and a New York Giants fan, as well as possibly a very prominent Dallas Cowboys fan that y'all on this network know quite well.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do know him quite well, and we'll look forward to whatever he provides. Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network. As always, he joins us every Friday, 8:35 on to the top of the second hour. How you doing, Sam? Thank you so much. I hope everything is well with you this weekend and in the next week.
Definitely. I will catch you guys next week. And as always, I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure.
Have a great weekend.
You too, sir. Again, that same Shady, the Shady Sports Network. We're going to take a slight break, and then when we come back, we will begin our number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. We will be right back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
We begin in earnest hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. Momentarily, I think we might be joined by BS3, but I want to go back. Oh, before I do go there, Deet says he's a Cowboys fan. He's down for that invite along with the confab with the Shady Sports Network. I look forward to seeing that too. Because Deets is fire with everything he knows. And
yep.
And I want to go back to a couple of comments that Deet said, because it leads into what I wanted to talk about. When he said that the Warriors follow Draymond Green, they're front runners. When things don't go their way, they fold. And he says, watch out for Clay tonight. The Gardener's going to eat him alive. What he said about the fans at the game 3. And I want to focus on those types of comments. And the comment that he's referring to is in the post game after game 3. Klay Thompson said something to the effect of, quote, now we dealt with hostile fans, all throughout our playoff run, but Boston was another level. He says, very classy, Boston, very classy. Close quote. And of course, the very classy reference was directed toward the fans after they chanted F you, Draymond, basically in a hockey chant.
Mm-hmm.
But you might not like me, sir, from what I'm about to do, because it wasn't Klay.
Go for it. They need to go for it.
It wasn't Klay that bothered me, although it makes me want to say, come on, man, you already know the deal. But still, it wasn't him that bothered me. It was Draymond's wife, Hazel. And not that I hate what she said or hate who she is, but it's sort of like, I'll explain it, because Miss Green, I think it is your turn to sit on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah.
So let's set the stage and the scene for you. So game 3, you have this wonderful raucous crowd in TD Garden. You have Hazel, who along with their son was attending the game. Son probably has no more than 6, possibly maybe 7. And of course, I just mentioned the aforementioned hockey chant that was derogatory. So Miss Green offered this take after game 3. Quote, tough loss tonight, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion should fans be allowed to chant obscenities at players. Are they not human? Is someone standing at your job saying off-the-wall things to you? The NBA has the audacity to have a whole code of conduct card at every seat about fans and their behavior, about how they could be ejected from a game or banned, but a whole crowd or section of numerous people get to chant F you, Draymond, at Money 23 Green, or call him a witch, but of course the B word, or MF, and nothing? Like that's okay? At Warriors fans would never. My kids were at that game tonight hearing that mess. Very disgusting of you little at Celtics fans. Just shameful. Close quote. Now, I'm going to invite...
Can I respond?
Go ahead, sir. But before you do, though, I'm going to invite our next guest to actually be a part of this, too. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the owner, the operator, the manipulator of the BS3 Network, BS3 Sports, and many other programming, our good friend, Mr. Brian Sudderth III. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys?
We're doing fine. I just set the table of Hazel Green in her tweet going after Celtics fans, and Brian, he was going to actually say something about it. I do want your opinion on it as well, but I want to hear what Brian has to say first on it. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hazel, if you don't like the chants now, you should have been around in 1984 in Boston. Hell, you should have been around in the 60s when Bill Russell was playing.
And they was chanting it to him.
I'll stop there.
All right. So if you're unaware, Ben, Draymond's better half, Hazel, took to Twitter, love Hazel Renee, and basically said, similar to the fact of that the fans had no business chanting obscenities. What are your thoughts on that? If you do know the situation, and if not, in hearing what I just said, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's a two-sided thing because obviously the family members of the players they don't want to hear that about their significant other. But the other side of it is this is sports fandom. And if she's ever been to any game, there's gonna be things yelled that you wouldn't want to hear, that grandma's mom probably doesn't want to hear. But that is fortunately and unfortunately fandom. So I don't think it's not going to change. So her making this comment is not going to result in fans being more polite. So it's one of those it is what it is situations. You gotta roll with the good and the bad because you're on a court and you're in an arena where that's all the fans are watching.
All right, here is my thought on this. So, Hazel, I understand that's your man. You don't want anybody to say anything derogatory to him. But let's not play as though Draymond is a paragon of virtue. Let's not pretend that Draymond hasn't said anything injurious to anybody or done anything injurious to anybody. Do you remember going back into the conference semifinals, game one, after he received an elbow shot from, I think it was, doggone it. I think it was Dylan Brooks. After he received the elbow from him, and he went down hard, clutching his chin. And the crowd sort of cheered at the fact that Draymond was going to walk to the dressing room. Do you know what your husband did? He flipped them off. 2 middle fingers to the sky. So if he can throw 2 middle fingers to the crowd, and this is not a home crowd, this is a road crowd. If he could throw 2 middle fingers to the crowd, and yeah, he did get a slap on the wrist and a fine for it. But if he can do that and he can still continue to play, then you have no room whatsoever to talk about Celtics fans saying F you to Draymond and calling him a female dog. You have no room. No room because he invites it. You see, here's the problem with, I think, what people have to understand. If you're going to be an irritant, you have to wise up your family and say, I'm going to have a lot of things that's not going to sound so pleasant said to me because I get under people's skin. That is part of my role. And then on top of it, in the post-game press conference in game 3, your husband with your son next to him, when the question was asked, how did you think you played in game 3? He said, quote, oh, I played like close quote. I'm sorry. To me, it's open and shut. Hazel, I understand your heart, but this is how it is. Fans cannot do 3 things: spit at a player, toss something on the court, or throw or hit something at them. Everything else is fair game. And yes, I'm looking to one particular player who thinks it's his right to kick out somebody simply because they had a choice word or two to say about him. I don't think I have to mention the name. But fans are going to pay to do whatever they do and say whatever they want to say. It is your job as the player to say scoreboard and shut them up. That's how it's been since I've known sports. That's how it will be until I am buried talking about and knowing sports. All right, I have a guest here, so I have to end this hot seat. Okay, Hazel, you can jump off. All right, Ben. All right, I'll just ask this question straight out. Something must be wrong with Gerald because I haven't heard him. He's been too quiet. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, he's been really quiet. Yeah, I don't know. That's normally not like Jerry. Jerry's gonna throw some type of bomb, either small or big. And yeah, I don't. He must be getting LASIK or must be getting some Botox or something. I don't know what he's doing. But but I think what they're focused on right now is trying to figure out what they're going to do with Dalton Schultz. So it seems to be that's the big story in Dallas is what's going to happen with Dalton Schultz, and obviously talking about what this wide receiving core is going to look like. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing, and he'll pop up. He'll say something, or the Cowboys will be in the news because they always are.
Yeah, they are.
That's scary.
Oh, yeah, that is scary. Oh, and speaking about Cowboys that seem to be in the news, how about your we talked about this in hour number 1. How about your former Cowboys head coach, Jason Garrett? Now we're going to see him every Sunday night pregame on NBC. You happy to be seeing him?
Please, no. Please. I beg of you, NBC, please don't do this to all of us, Cowboys fans and non-Cowboys fans. He is the most boring coach ever. You expect him to show any bit of personality at all?
Let's just do it. Expect to show any kind of emotion.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I simply said next when we did the whip around earlier.
Oh, I know.
I just simply said next.
I know.
Because
and I expected you to say that. That's why I did it.
How do you go from Drew Brees, one of the most prolific quarterbacks to ever play the game,
and one of the most intelligent,
to Jason, who had one significant game in his playing career?
Thanksgiving game,
One.
1994.
And that was Thanksgiving 1994. And I didn't even watch the whole darn thing because I was full of food. But the next thing I know, Jason Garrett is getting a turkey leg. I went, what?
Yeah.
John Madden, why are you doing this to me? Fox has control of the NFC package. You go from Drew Brees to who's developed a Southern accent playing in New Orleans all that time.
I don't know
to
how.
Jason Garrett.
He said, please, NBC, no, I beg of
you. Jason Garrett.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
I join you in prayer. NBC, please no. You got time. It's June. You don't kick off till September. Please find someone else before Jason Garrett gets his first paycheck and you're locked into that contract. Please.
Oh my.
Don't do. It all started with the NFL today with me. It all started with the NFL today.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm still part of the NFL today. Football night in America is cool. All right.
Yeah, it's
Football
not bad.
Night in America
It's not
is cool. When Mike Tirico or Dan Patrick was doing it, and I'll talk about that next week.
Well,
but you go from Drew Brees. But you go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett. What? I saw that. I'm gonna make y'all really laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, and I turned to Jody, and I'm like, "Honey, you're not gonna believe this." She said, "What?" And I showed her the blurb, and her next two words to me were, "Oh Lord."
So
I'll take Eli Manning. I'll take Peyton Manning.
yeah, I'll take either Manning. Doesn't matter.
Anybody. I'll take anybody.
Heck, I'll take Jay Cutler.
But I'll take Jay Cutler. And I couldn't stand his ass.
Same.
I'll take Jay Cutler, and I couldn't stand him. And yet there are some Bear fans that still laud him. Jay Cutler equals Jason Garrett, Chicago style. But at least Jay Cutler put up some numbers, although he couldn't find his nuts against the Green Bay Packers in the 2010 NFC Championship game. More on that at a later date. But you go from Drew Brees
to
Jason Garrett.
Oh, what are you going to say, Ben?
Now, I was going to say, even the other part of this, too, is name one game, coaching-wise, that Jason Garrett had that was notable. There is none. Zero.
No, there isn't. I can't think of a coaching game.
Jason Garrett in the NFC East division alone was a puppet and a target for the Eagles, the Giants, and the Redskins. I mean, Tony Romo against the Redskins threw a supposed game-winning touchdown pass only to have it called back for holding. I'll say it again. You go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett.
Oh, I do have a notable coaching game, the most notable coaching game from Jason Garrett's career. Yes. Divisional round.
Last one, when he got fired.
Well, no. Divisional round 2014, Cowboys Packers, where Des Bryant caught the pass, but they still lost the game. That is the most notable coaching game Jason Garrett ever had. Yeah, it was overturned. That's the most notable coaching game.
Last one
that he ever had. Oh Lord, where they had to fight for him to be 8-8 for that season.
Yeah, king of the 8-8 season.
King of the mediocre.
Oh my gosh!
How did Stephen put it? Accidents
waiting to happen. Oh my gosh!
You go. I'm going to say this for the remainder of the show. You go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett.
Deet says there's a lot of games that Jason Garrett is notable, just on the good side. I agree. Yes,
I agree with that. There is no personality. I borrow Ben's comment. There is no personality with Jason. None. None.
No. Like I said, you need to have
How the
Jamal
hell
give him
are you going to go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett? I mean, is Jason Garrett going to have a teleprompter?
Well, probably so.
Because most NFL analysts have their in front of them. Yeah. Right. At the same time, they know the game. Ray Bradshaw. All right. Let's go back to Irv Cross. But do you?
Oh, Ben, you'll like this. Chris,
49ers game.
Yeah. I was going to say, I have to introduce you. Ben Sudderth, Christopher Dietz, Ben Sudderth. Both of you Cowboys fans. And so Dietz offers 49ers game. First and goal from the 2-yard line, 4 passes and no score. Talking about one of the most memorable games that Jason Garrett ever coached.
Yeah. And I was going to say he doesn't need a teleprompter because he's going to say probably 10 words every single time. And well, Jason, you gotta have more personality. He was like, no, I will not have any personality. Like, come on, man. This is the absolute worst, man. There is no way this is a good idea.
All he needs is a computer voice. All he needs. You're gonna put a microphone on Jason Garrett. I mean, hell, I know a ton of Cowboy fans, including one in the chat and one is our guest. But they got afraid of every time Jason Garrett did a post-game conference. I love this comment from Chris Deeds. Will be a good clapper on the screen. Don't put that on the screen, please.
Oh my gosh.
Love of anything that is holy. Do not put him clapping on the screen.
Good analysis. Good analysis.
Physically throw up.
Good analysis,
And
Maria.
I don't like halftime studio shows anymore because they're just all the way out there. Okay? I can put up with the halftime shows from the old school NFL Today, NFL on NBC, Howard Cosell's highlights from back in the day on Monday Night Football. But for God's sakes, don't put Jason Garrett in the back.
Yeah.
And just have his voice recorded. Just record his voice.
Speaking of his voice, Ryan McCarthy. I love you, Ryan. He says Stephen Hawking's voice box has more personality than Jason Garrett.
Wow.
I agree with that.
I 100% agree with that too.
I'll say it again. I'll say it again. You go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett.
Oh, that was a good point, Rodney. I love that point, Rodney.
Y'all know I love The Price is Right. Y'all know I love The Price is Right. Okay? There's a game there. There's a game that's become a favorite of mine because I've become quite cynical over my old age, called Three Strikes, where they play for the most expensive cars.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Garrett pulls all three strikes without placing a number on the board. That's what it reminds me of. Ben,
Coach Dungy, I love it. I love it, man. I love it.
You didn't Ben, you didn't influence this decision somehow, did you? I want to say no, but I want to hear. Thank you. I know.
Yeah, Bishop Bowinkle. Bishop Bowinkle.
Oh no! Oh Lord! Oh,
give me the Bowinkle, please.
I'm about to. So should Jason Garrett be an NBC analyst on football night? Football night on NBC.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
In fact, NBC sports executives must have been doing this.
This is so good.
All right. I would love to talk to you more and more, Ben, but I know you got to run. So where can people find you, sir? Oh, well, Ben had to go. All right. Ben Sudderth III, BS3 Network extraordinaire. Love the guy. Love his takes. Wonderful guy. On the bottom of the half hour, we're there now. We're about to approach the break, and after that break, we're going to enter the boom shakalaka. Chris Bass is joining us. We'll be all about that bass.
You go from I'll take us to break. You go from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes.
Look on my face.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, I love that move.
Hey,
Right after that.
dear God.
Right after that.
That's Cole Johnson. I'm Snowman. It's the Fabulous Hawaiian Church Friday edition.
This is Snowman in the
of
morning.
Snowman in the morning. And we're going to recover.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
You operate this Instagram thing or this Twitter thing by going to official SIT Morn. That's official SIT Morn. Back at it, Snowman in the morning with Cole Johnson with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. Our guest will join us momentarily, but let me show love to the chat first before we do. Sig Diggy, Good morning to you, sir. Glad that you've joined us as always. He says the sound of frustration, Snowman's voice is painful. He also says, Deeds, a good clapper? Talking about Jason Garrett. You you make it sound like Jason Garrett is a seal. Well, yeah. All this misses the
No comment.
That's the only that's missing. Deed says, just more proof that the Cowboys rule football. Tony Romo, Jason Witten, and now Jason Garrett. We just need Des Bryant and we'll be all set. And he says, sick. All he did was clap on the sideline. It was infuriating, which that's true. Six says, all that's left is Jason Garrett to be casted as Mrs. Clump in the next Nutty Professor movie. Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. And then Six says, is Jason Garrett's nose naturally brown? And when you were mentioning Price is Right, the only sound I had that came to my mind when you said the NBC went from Drew Brees to Jason Garrett is all right. Now I'm ready. Now I'm set. I think it's time for us to enter the Boom Shakalaka.
Don't soil this program by putting crap on it. Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just no dice. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish, baby Jesus, that I had alcohol in this container because I need some after watching Screaming Nate Smith.
Baby Jesus? Really?
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bates will be in the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Bates has joined us again. How you doing, my man?
Well, first of all, good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Everything is good on my end. But as you can see with Brian's countenance, because we talked about NBC Sports replacing Drew Brees with Jason Garrett, it's been
Well, when it comes to certain broadcasters, and once again, I still thank you for the introduction. I looked over both shoulders and like, who the hell is that? And I really appreciate that.
Look on Jason. Tell you everything.
Well, and again, how I feel about certain sports broadcasters.
Right.
It's a touch and go. It's who you like versus who you don't like. And some people are solid to me, and then some people just, how did you get hired? Did you get on your knees? And I don't want to ask why, but how'd you get in the building? And they probably know they suck. They can't come out and say it as compared to the competition out there. They do the best they can. Look, they get a check. I ain't mad at them, but I'm like, dude or dudette, how did you get this job?
Not dude or dudette.
Yeah. We gotta be fair,
True, you're right. Dietz asked the question, is Drew Brees still going to do Notre Dame football? That's all I care about. The answer to that is no, because he walked completely away from NBC Sports. Wyatt says hello to you, Base, to you, Brian, and of course to me. Good morning to you, Wise.
Good morning.
Appreciate that. Six says, Dietz, in fact, Jason Garrett is a pair of pom-poms and needs a pair of pom-poms to make him the head cheerleader.
Oh, help.
So I don't know if you heard. Of course, Drew Brees, I think late last month or early this month, walked away from NBC Sports altogether.
Right.
And supplanting him in Sunday Football Night in America, the pregame NBC show that leads to Sunday Night Football, is the former head coach of the Cowboys and former offensive coordinator for the Giants, Jason Garrett. Your thoughts, sir?
Certain people just should not have a job.
A job? Oh.
They should not have a job. And Jason Garrett is in that category of not having a job.
He shouldn't even have a job at all.
No, not at all. You know, see, that job can go to somebody who can actually do it. And so when you have a ne'er-do-well who does not know what he's doing, and you just completely putting the team into the crapper because you don't know your X's from your O's.
Oh no!
And he has a proven track record of not getting that much done. He's again, you just happen to be in the building. So if you're working with people like Bill Parcells and others who actually coach, doesn't mean you can. You just happen to be next to a coach, and it's up to you. I tried. No, you couldn't coach in the first place. You just have to be the right place, right time. But then when these people become coaches, it becomes the wrong place, wrong time.
He said that Jason Garrett shouldn't have a job at all.
No.
Not a job coaching football, not a job as an analyst. He said he shouldn't have a job at all. Lord.
Hell nope.
Damn!
God damn you.
Oh my
God
gosh.
damn you. No job.
You were not right.
Hampton,
You were not right with that.
But can we get back, Bo, please? 'Cause I have a question.
Okay. What's your question, sir?
I got a question, and the question is this: should Jason Garrett have a job at all?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
Six says, not a Chris Bases in the building. Let's get completely off the rails.
That's right.
Six says, good morning to you, Wise. Wise says the same thing to you, Sick. Six says, the job should go to somebody who knows what they're doing. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's too much like right.
Yeah, exactly. It is too much like right. Wise says, I've become a base head.
Oh,
Lord
thank
have
you,
mercy.
brother. Thank you. That means the world to me. When you become a base head, your life is better. You can smell the roses. The grass is greener. The sky is more bluer. Negroes will keep on being Negroing, and it's going to be all right.
Okay, all right. Wait. Negroes are going to keep Negroing,
right.
Okay, so what does it mean to be Negroing?
Well, I'll explain it to you. Thank you for asking that question, Cole.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are Negroing, that is a state of mind where you go out, you're very aggressive, not to cause harm to people, but you're very aggressive, and you're aggressive amongst your brethren and sisterin. And that's what I mean by that.
Ah, okay. All right. I love that. Negroling.
Right, Negroling, right. I can't use the other word because it'll be insulting.
Yeah, I know. I understood why you used said language.
There you go.
All right, so if we were to, as you said at one time, but heck, I'll still do it. If we were to climb into the mind of Chris Base, what is on it right now? Or in it right now?
Well, let's see. Well, the playoffs, I didn't get a chance to see the game on Wednesday. I missed that, unfortunately. I'm looking forward to the night. Listen, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I would be okay if whoever won. I think we'll go to Game 7. I think that Boston has, the Warriors on their heels. I think they have to regroup, obviously, and get another game plan going because Boston wants it. They're very hungry. Of course, the Warriors been there before, so they know the route, but Boston really counteracts with them very strongly. And so I think that it's a whole different ball game, literally, when it comes to Warriors. But I'll be happy. I mean, I'll be happy if the Warriors get the other championship to put on their mantle. And for first-year coach, Boston coach, Okie Dokie, I think that because of what he's doing and the Boston Celtics, it's a great team. I can't say his name for me again. I'll get it one day, probably some 2 years down the road.
In the words of Ronald Reagan, there you go again. Well. It's I'm gonna make you happy, Sick. It's Ime Sunday Udoka. Ime Sunday Udoka.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right, so
salami and bacon.
Good Lord. I almost want to go down there and say, is that what you do to the 5%ers? But I'm not going to go there. So
is yet a black man like me go to 5%? They don't get me started with that conversation. Yeah. Don't get me started with it. I love the brothers, but man, I mean, they get knee deep. If you want to get knee deep, talk to those type of brothers, man. Is yet a black man sent from a God above who looks like me here to teach y'all. I mean, no, that's a whole different conversation, man.
Yeah. I'm like, yes. Okay, so why not? I'll throw this at you. I don't know. You probably have heard, because you normally keep your ear to a whole lot of streets and eyes on a lot of things. Commanders defense coordinator Jack Del Rio basically called the insurrection a quote dust up, close quote. And he had to apologize for that. Now, NAACP took it upon themselves to say, well, yeah, Commanders need to fire that joker, or at least ask him to resign. Firstly, what are your thoughts about Jack Del Rio calling the insurrection a dust up versus the other protests that happened to actually precipitate said thing, and the actions of the Commanders being called upon by the NAACP to fire or have him resign?
I don't think he should be fired or resigned. I think that Jack Del Rio is a very good coach. When it comes down to politics, that's what separates us.
Thank you.
We're bonded by sports. We're in this situation bonded by football. But when it comes to our political issues, we have our right to feel the way we want to feel. Now, I politely disagree with Jack Del Rio, but he's entitled to his opinion. And so it's not as bad as John Gruden when you break it down. That's a whole different conversation with that.
Not even close.
So John Gruden, on the remarks he said in emails and the N-word and everything else, that deserved to be resigned and get the hell up out the building. But as far as Jack Del Rio is concerned, I think that you can, probably give him maybe some sensitivity courses about what other races are going through. Maybe not really in tune with that, especially working with African American players and people in the front office. So I think that if you give him a time to really delve into what people of color are going through, I think that will work out. I don't think he should be fired, though.
I agree. I don't think he should be fired. I don't think he should resign either. I really do believe, like you said, I think it should be an invitation to have him learn how other people think when it comes to these types of issues.
Right.
And you're right. We're bonded by sports. Politics is a little different because, well, you believe what you believe.
Exactly.
And we could actually say that about our own culture. I mean, not every one of us think similar in political wranglings in circles either. So if that's the case with us, well, that would be the case if it's someone who's not in our culture.
Correct.
Yeah. Deet says, to be fair, Jason Garrett, at least he didn't run out the end zone like the analysts on ESPN or throw interceptions like yours truly, like a certain ESPN analyst. And the analyst you talk about is Dan Orlovsky. Yeah.
Well, it's still one of those things where when you see other coaches coach, and no matter what sport that he or she is in, they were built for that. They were built to coach. They were built to play the game. They were built to be around the game and then turn around and coach it. I mean, it's one of those things where either you have a talent for it or you don't. Because if you don't, you're going to have misgivings and losses in your column. You're not careful. And plus, it's not about you, it's about the team. If you're not an effective leader, then you have to go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, Cool McCain of the Eagles League podcast says, feel the bass.
Thank you so much. Feel it.
Yes. And Sig has a question for you, sir. He says, I got a question for Chris Bass. When he mentions baby Jesus, 6 pounds, 7 ounces, is he talking about big baby Jesus, a.k.a. ODB from the Wu-Tang Clan?
Well, that's a very excellent question to ask. I'm praying to, of course, the original Not the imitator, the original savior, as some people say, was born in the manger. But all we know now, but we know December 25th was not the day he was born. Everything else, I mean, that becomes part of a pagan culture thing. But as far as we know, if we go by that story, the fact that he was born, that's the Jesus. That's the baby Jesus. In fact, a black baby Jesus. I won't get it twisted because the area that people were born in were regional people of color. Assalamu alaikum. So the thing about it is, when I prayed that, I prayed to a black, dark-skinned, 6-pound, 7-ounce baby Jesus. Yes, sir.
Again, way alaikum salam.
That's right. Not to make fun of Muslim culture. Don't come after me. It's just,
nor me.
Look, my brother's Muslim. My brother-in-law is Muslim, so I understand completely, man.
Yeah. I had a family member who was, but decided to no longer be there. Ryan says sick. I think that's a reference to a movie Talladega Nights, but I could be wrong. Six says, Mr. Bass, you can also call him Coach Sunday or Mr. Long, talking about Ime Udoka. The one you call Okie Dokie.
Yes, I understand. Look, we had this conversation last week. He has my utmost respect. He is living the great life.
Yes, he
for
is.
a first-year coach, and during that timeline, to get married to Nia Long, yes.
Yeah, and he's proven to be one of the better coaches of the league already in his first year as head coach, which
amazing.
That is amazing. All joking aside, that is amazing. He has his team 2 wins from an NBA championship in his first year. That is amazing.
Uncanny.
Yeah. Dietz says, yes, Christopher Dietz intercepted Mr. Orlowski, just like Al Bundy, twice, not just in one season, but in one game. Well, all right. That's good to know, Dietz. We may have to ask you how it was to play against Dan Orlowski. Okay. All right.
Dan Orlowski. I didn't even hear the dude till ESPN.
Yeah. Well, he played with
Detroit, right?
Yeah, he was the Lions' backup QB, and he had some time starting too, but he was horrendous as a starter. But to Dan's credit, he'll be the first to tell you he was a horrendous football player.
At least he's an honest hoe. That's great.
Eagles Sleep Podcast.
Yeah.
Says, I got a question for you. Your baby Jesus. How is the hair texture?
On baby Jesus? I wasn't there. I was not there. He could have, if we go by the King James version of the Bible, hair of wool.
Mm-hmm.
Hair of wool and feet of brass. So I'm gonna go with that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's another question for you. How is the hair texture and mass of your baby Jesus? He asks.
Well again, I wasn't there when baby Jesus was born. How the hell am I supposed to know?
Oh Lord.
All I know is that I just do my best when times of trouble and times of strife. I pray to black 6-pound, 7-ounce babies. I'll give a good perfect example. So I have a friend of mine who I've known for maybe a couple of years now. He's also a broadcaster and radio. And we have political differences. He's Republican, I'm a Democrat. I don't know what I am nowadays. The Democrats get on my nerve. So whatever I am.
Mine too.
Right. So I'm more independent than anything else.
Agreed.
Thank you. So having said that, we get into these arguments or these loud discussions about certain political issues or things alike. So it gets me riled. So I kid you not, when he calls me up, the first thing I do is pray to baby Jesus because I need help.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I do before we start because I know I'm going to get my dander up.
Yeah,
whatever dander means. And I figured, okay, let me pray to black 6-pound, 7-ounce baby Jesus before I get into this discussion with my friend. I love him. Love him like a stepbrother, but I got to pray first.
It would be like how our parents and grandparents would say, yeah, that person gets my blood pressure up.
Oh, yeah. We know our parents.
Oh, yes.
Look, especially our grandparents.
Oh, yes.
Especially our grandparents, yes.
I don't know. Once again, respect to the grandparents.
Yes.
How did the Lord get a nickname? Now, Lordy.
How did the Lord get a nickname?
Now, Lordy? Yeah, I know God had a nickname. No offense. Before I beat this child, yes. Now, Lordy. Lordy.
Oh, Lordy.
And you hear it often. And you hear it often.
Yep.
You hear it often.
How did the Lord get a nickname?
Before the whooping commenced. You hear it often.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 6 says, base is cool. I'm an East African Orthodox Christian. Inside the church is baby Jesus on the murals is black and sporting an afro.
That's how you do it, right? that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Now you can even I'm sorry, I mean to get ready to put up the thing in the comment section, but you have to understand everything ties into a reason. So when I was coming up, like most of us watched Soul Train, and of course Soul Train was sponsored by Afro Sheen,
right?
Yes,
and Ultra.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Ultra Sheen. Dear Lord, I remember
Afro
that.
Sheen.
Afro
Sheen. Yeah.
Anything with Sheen in it, it was on Soul Train. And the more products they came out with had Sheen in it. All right.
Because of Soul Train, my mother had that from the time I was in grammar school until the time I got to high school.
You know what was stupid? You know what?
Yep.
How can you not get the Soul Train scramble board correct? Some of these couples out there were dumb as hell. So Don Camille is setting you up. All right. Here's an important model that's been working in the industry for years. He has 60 seconds to make this happen. While you do that, we'll do this. It's cool.
Oh Lord.
So it's scrambled.
And there were some couples that took more than 60 seconds into the song to figure it out.
Dude, it was Iman and someone put man I.
No.
Yes, I've seen that.
Not Iman.
I've seen that.
No. So Don actually said this is a famous model. You got 60
famous
seconds.
Model. You famous model you've known and see on various magazine covers. You have 60 seconds to put it together.
I mean, he puts it out there.
Right.
And they still screw it up.
I couldn't stand that. I'm like, you
and
dumb.
N, and M and A and an I, but couldn't put man I.
Man I.
They have most. Wait a minute. They have most of the letters on the Soul Train scramble board in order. They have them basically in place.
Man.
All you got to do is a little cosmetic cleanup, and you figure out the puzzle.
Man,
I don't have any intel on it, but I think they were told the answer.
Man, look,
and still got it wrong.
I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
man,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were told the answer and they would still screw it up.
Man, look, Don Cornelius should have paid Price is Right a pretty penny. Whenever an answer was wrong, he should have said, "Okay, yeah, hit him with this." Be in the middle of the song.
Do you know how many sound effects he would? You never could ever play the music. All these dumbasses.
I would have
because you would have heard
him cued it in the middle of the
so
song.
many sound effects, man.
Yeah,
you would have heard so many sound effects. From that one to the Family Feud strike to
seriously,
any game show sound you can collect.
Seriously,
any game show sound you can collect. Use it.
I'm seriously. It'll be like, yeah. So, famous model. You got 60 seconds, and he put man eye, and you be hearing the song. Don't dance, gonna shout, shake your body on to the ground.
You would hear it all the time.
I would love it. I would have loved it when I was 5, 6, 7. I would love it today.
Ooh, holy smokes and Jesus and baby Jesus.
Yeah. All right, folks. We are at the 10 o'clock hour. You've been inside the Boom Shakalaka with Chris Bass. We're gonna make all the corrections, and I promise we're going to have the last 2 episodes thereof up on the YouTube page, and we're going to start a separate playlist with Chris Bass as we now exit the Boom Shakalaka and we get ready for Mike Debate. Bass, always a pleasure. We love you, brother. Thank you, and thank you, and we'll do it again in 7 days.
Sounds like a plan. Have a great show, and I'll see you next week.
All right.
Thank you very much.
And before you go,
yes, sir.
How can the people? Where can the people find you?
Oh, thank you very much. My favorite part of the show as well. Go to Facebook.com and type in Chris Bass, CHRIS, B as in broadcasting, ASE. As you can tell, I am melanated, and there'll be a million other Chris Basses that do not look like me, but I am the original. You will see me on there. Click on that. We can be friends. You just be a part of my social media programs. I have 3 of them. Come on board. Make sure you do the following. No matter what you do, do this. Tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
I love
Absolutely.
That. Thank you again,
absolutely.
Chris Bass.
Thank you, Bass.
Thank you so much.
Into the Boom Shakalaka. Love it. Don't
soil this program by putting crap on it.
Oh my heavens.
Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just no dice. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish, baby Jesus, that I had alcohol in this container, because I need some after watching Screaming Nate Smith.
Baby Jesus? Really?
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Hour number 3
man.
of Snowman in the Morning starts now.
Right now.
We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Here's a 2-1. And that's driven deep to left center field. Gardner is going back. Looking up. See you later. See you later. Astros headed back to the World Series. Jose Altuve, a walk-off 2-run homer. And the Astros beat the Yankees 6-4. Win the ALCS 4-2.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Hour 3 begins with Jose Altuve and the great voice of the Astros, Robert Ford, bringing us into hour number 3. Thank you, Robert, good friend of mine. As I mentioned, the fabulous voice of the Houston Astros, Mike Debate's on the way. Snowman is here, so is Cole Johnson. And a quick announcement. I got contacted by someone who wants to sell this show and put it on the radio. So I did some praying last night after he asked me a bunch of very, very tough questions. And the way he wants to syndicate to get us started is an hour a week with many stations across the country. So, like I said, after sleeping and doing some praying, and I've been praying throughout the morning, I've decided we're not going to tweak this show. We're going to build a new one, and it'll be an hour. It'll be an hour a week. Coming up with a working title. It will probably feature my nickname. It won't feature Cole's name, but believe me, Cole is going to be a part of it in terms of production, in terms of being a partner on the show. And Cole, I ask unto you, you want to take on this project with me? Please say yes, because I want you to get on the air with me, and I wouldn't be here without you.
Wow. Okay. A second show. Yeah. All right. Well,
all right.
Let's see where this goes.
All right. Y'all heard it. And like I said, it's the billing's gonna be a little different. The title's gonna be different and everything. 10:05 Eastern time, 9:05 Central time, 5 minutes past the hour. And I believe Mike Debate is here. We're gonna talk some NFL football. Please welcome our senior NFL advisor, senior NFL analyst, I should say, for Snowman in the Morning. Now in his 5th season with us, this is Mike Debate, and he joins us right now via our hotline. Good morning, Mike. Glad to talk to you.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Cole. Always my honor. Always my pleasure to join you guys.
Good morning to you too, Mike. It's a pleasure.
All right, let's start at the top, and it goes like this. Deebo Samuel is in camp. He will remain in camp. And I said all along, and Cole has been with me, and so have you, Deebo is in camp for this season, which clues me in, and I think you agree, Mike, that they are working on a long-term deal for one of the most dangerous weapons, not just on the 49ers, but in the NFL.
Absolutely, without any question. And, you know, the great news coming out of Niners camp when it comes to Deebo Samuel is that he's having fun at training camp. And that's something that I know a lot of people think is just lip service. It's something that players or agents tell the media to kind of get them off their back a little bit. No, there's definitely a synergy there that's developing between these players. And you heard Trey Lance say it earlier this week during training camp, where guys like Deebo, like Trent, like, you know, Bosa, when they're in the building, it just hits a little bit different. And I do believe that the two sides are definitely working diligently. This is the time of year where you start to see these things come together. I believe that eventually these two sides are going to come together. But the fact that he's in camp and the fact that he's engaged and really enjoying the time with his teammates on the field in camp is something that's big. I think that definitely should make 49ers fans feel very confident and very good about Deebo Samuel and his future in the Bay.
And speaking of a future in the Bay, there was a rumor floating around that the 49ers were going to give a jersey to one Deshaun Jackson. How dangerous would that be if they were to bring him in?
Very. I mean, you want to talk about guys that can, play in this league, and, players that have really, I think, given not only a tremendous resume to the NFL, but also lend what I like to call, and I've been saying this for years, Ryan, that wisdom and counsel factor of a savvy veteran that can come in, make plays, and really make the players around him even better. To me, that would be a huge, huge move. I love his fit in a Shanahan-style offense. This would be a great fit, no matter who's calling signals in the 49ers camp, whether it is indeed Trey Lance or whether Jimmy G gets the shot that we believe he should get. I think adding someone of his caliber would be huge for this team and just give them yet another passing threat that would make this offense even that much more potent. I'm intrigued by the move, and I like the move.
And the other receiver in camp that came up big in the final regular season game and throughout the playoffs, third-year man out of Tennessee, Juwan Jennings. Expect him to have a bigger role in the 49ers, not just their passing offense, but their running offense.
Absolutely. You want to talk about dual threats. This is something that I think we're seeing a lot more of in the league. We're seeing different teams around the league use the wide receivers that can get out wide and that can make, plays on the perimeter and in the slot, but also guys that can align in the backfield, carry the ball out of the back. One of the big reasons why is the guy that we just mentioned a few minutes ago, and that is Deebo Samuel. These guys like Cordero Patterson, have made that switch in that move as well. I watched the Patriots do that an awful lot up here in New England. So when you look at someone like a Juwan Jennings that can really be that dual threat, look for a big year out of him. You know that the Niners like what they saw, and they're going to continue to like what they see in that regard. This guy does have the ability to play that dual threat.
It's the Fabulous Football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Mike Debate joins us, our senior NFL analyst. And right now we start our division previews, and we're going to start with the NFC East and turmoil in Washington. They have a name in the Commanders. I'm sorry, I won't be using it because to me, they're always going to be the Washington Redskins. But how do the Redskins put their season together, Mike, amidst all this turmoil?
Oh, it's a lot. It's very difficult to be able to put a lot of that aside and move forward. They've got a new quarterback there, Carson coming in and, trying to revamp his reputation after a year in Indy where I didn't think he played all that particularly badly. I just think there were some deficiencies that, prevented him from coming up big in those moments that really kind of soured a lot of people's feelings on that. But I think him back in the NFC, I think especially back in the NFC East, can do the job. And that Washington is going to have a potent defense. It's something that they just predicate themselves on. They've got guys coming back to do that this year. The problem is they're running into a division where I think they're facing some stiff competition. Say what you will about the Cowboys, they're going to be right in the mix, at least until the end of the year. And then we'll really find out what the Dallas Cowboys are made out of. And I say that tongue-in-cheek, but most of the listeners right out there know that it's true, that you can't completely take them serious until you see them do it in the months of November, December, and early January. But the Philadelphia Eagles are much improved as well. We talked about, their improvements and what they've done. I know that the Giants are still in a rebuild right now, but Brian Daboll coming in, giving them a new outlook, supposedly in training camp this year, from the people that I talked to that are close to the Giants organization, say there's a different feel and a different thumbprint. When you look at Washington now, that to me is where they're going to struggle. It's not so much for the quality of players that they're going to put on the field. It's the distraction factor, and the organizational problems do factor into that. But I think their bigger problem is the competition they faced in the NFC East.
To Cole Johnson, how big of a problem will the Redskins have in the NFC East with all the distractions that are going on, like Mike said? And then, they got the competition because 3 of the teams in the NFC East, for all intents and purposes, improved.
And you have 2 other questions you have to ask. There is the matter of Carson Wentz. Yes, he has the positive of knowing the division, of course, but the negative is how durable can he be? I mean, I call him Commander Cody for tongue-in-cheek reasons. Commander Carson for a reason. But I just his health. That's where I have an issue for him. If he can actually lead the team and not be injured at any point in juncture during the season. And then, speaking of health, how healthy is their best player on the team in Chase Young? So you have those worries, because when Young is healthy, he is a difference maker. And we saw that 2 years back when the team seemed to respond to when he was energetic and he was into the action on the field, and he knew how things would be, and the game started to slow down for him. But if you really want to know the true answer of how the Commanders can actually be successful this season, they need to get rid of Daniel Snyder. It is that simple, that cut and dried, because he literally is that dark cloud that hovers over the organization, and they will still be horrible until he's gone.
We'll talk about that later in the hour. To Philadelphia and back to Mike. Is this the most improved team in the NFC East?
Most improved? Yeah, I believe Philadelphia is the most improved in terms of where they were last year to the leap that they're going to make this year. But Ryan Cole, we talked about this last week. It's really going to depend on whether or not Jalen Hurts can take that mantra and then move it forward as being the quarterback, the franchise quarterback to the Eagles. I think he's shown steps that he's able to do it. I think he's shown the ability and some flashes of being able to do it, but can he do it consistently? The Eagles have surrounded him with some pretty good surrounding cast right now. Bringing A.J. Brown to play opposite him. You've got Devontae Smith there as well. This is a situation where now all of a sudden he's got a lot of weapons around him. They beefed up on the defense as well, got some good presence, very well stacked in terms of defense when it comes to their draft capital. But at the same time, they have to put it into action on the field. But yes, to answer your question, on paper, this is the most improved team in the division, and I look for that to reflect in the standings. Philadelphia Eagles are going to be right in the mix of this division this year.
They have to be in the mix, and I turn to Cole. What is the biggest thing that Jalen Hurts has to do to take that next step forward and lead the Philadelphia Eagles to the playoffs?
The biggest step he needs to take is to not believe he has to make every single play. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is he should not shoulder the burden of making sure every play is positive, because in the NFL, You know it, Brian, as well as you, Mike. There's going to be times the defense just has your number on a certain play. So sometimes the best play is to simply throw it away, or force incomplete, or even eat a sack if you just simply can't get it thrown away, and live for another down, if not live for the punt. But the overall goal is to not turn the ball over. And I think I heard a defensive-minded head coach, and it's not coming to my brain. He actually said, to me, every offensive possession should always end in a kick. He didn't say field goal or an extra point. He said, even if it's a punt, every offensive possession should end in a kick. So if he can get every offensive possession to end in a kick, hopefully more field goals and point touchdowns than punts, the better off he'll be. So he should not feel as though he needs to get that extra yard by running all the time, or get that extra first down by forcing it in a tight window where you're being baited for him to be throwing an interception. Play within himself, and he will be fine, and he'll take that next step.
For me, the key for Jalen Hurts in leading this Philadelphia offense, and I turn back to Mike, don't turn the ball over. How many times at the end of the season did we see Jalen Hurts, as Cole said, strive for that extra yard, but then get hit from behind or get hit, period, and cough the ball up? The Eagles turned the ball over 18 times in their final 3 games, and they turned it over twice in the playoff game. And a lot of that is on Jalen Hurts. They must, Mike, protect the football.
Absolutely. I mean, protection of the football is key for any team's success. And I could not have been nodding my head along with what Cole was saying more than you could possibly imagine, in saying that he needs to understand that he's not going to be able to make every play, and that it's okay if he doesn't have to make every play. At some point, you have to trust your teammates. By doing that, it gives you the opportunity to take some of the pressure off your shoulders and really be a true leader, rather than someone that's simply just going out there and trying to run the whole show. There's a big difference between leading on the field and then taking all the responsibility on yourself. That's not being a good leader. What you need to do is balance that. And in that respect, when you do that and you have that balanced attack, it allows each of your teammates now to be able to do their job better, whether it's running routes or whether it's getting out into the open field or whether it's taking the ball and running. The biggest part of that is ball control. And the biggest part of ball control is being able to hold on to it and not fumble it away, not turn the ball over with costly interceptions, not turn the ball over by, coughing it up. Those are big things. And the good teams, the teams that are left standing in late winter, are the teams that do that. If Philly can, and they can try to rebound and do that, they're going to be a very dangerous team to watch this year. But at the same time, you got to see what they put into practice on the field.
To the Meadowlands we go, and we look at the New York Giants, and I start with Cole on this one. It's still a rebuild, but are the Giants ready to take a leap forward? Not just a step forward, but a leap forward, considering the regime change that they made here in the offseason?
I want to say yes so bad, but they're not. They're not ready to take that leap forward. And the reason why I say that is there's just so many ifs with the players that they are hoping, praying, wishing that they could take this team from the doldrums they've experienced in the last few years to the promised land. I mean, they're hoping that Daniel Jones can, like we said about Jalen Hurts, not turn the ball over so much. They're hoping that Saquon Barkley actually can give you 17 games, on the field, because it starts with those two. I mean, yes, they bolstered their in the draft. They bolstered their defensive line front, and they've tried to get a couple of weapons on the outside for Mr. Dimes, but it just depends on. It depends on Jones's ability to not turn the ball over so much, and it depends on Saquon Barkley being healthy. If those two aspects can happen, then yes, they can take that leap. But history has shown that has not been true. I don't see the change and the tide turning at all. I really don't.
Mike, to you, how can the Giants take that step forward with Daniel Jones, who has been inconsistent at best, being their quarterback?
Well, I think there are two things. First of all, and I think Cole is right on the money, I don't think this team is quite ready to make that leap. They'll be better than they were last year, and there's no question about that. I think this team is on the right track, but I still think there's too many question marks, like Cole said. What they need to do in order to get this team back to where it needs to be is the steps and the building blocks that they've already put in place. First of all, you have to see the health and the abilities of Saquon Barkley to be able to be the top flight running back for this team. There's no question about it. He has the talent. If he's healthy, he's going to be one of the top backs in the division, one of the top backs in the league. But keeping him healthy, keeping him on the field has proven to be a difficulty. So if Saquon is able to play and play at a long stretch, that's going to automatically take pressure off of Daniel Jones right then and there. But the one thing that I think this team is prioritizing now, and we haven't seen them prioritize it in a while, is building up the offensive line, winning in the trenches. Evan Neal coming over, that's huge. This is where you need these guys that are going to be able to protect Daniel Jones, give him the time, allow him to make the reads. He's better at making reads than people give him credit for. If that's the case and he has the opportunity to do that, you want to see this offense start to perk up a little bit. The other thing as well is I think the Giants defense is going to be able to keep them off the field a little bit more as well. They're trying to beef up their defensive line as well, which has been difficult. And Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, is going to be an under the radar type of player this year that is going to get, I think, a lot of eyes on him in terms of what he brings to the table from a defensive end position. So if the Giants are ready to prioritize the trenches on both sides of the ball, and it seems like they're going to do it, I like the trajectory that they're on, but I agree with Cole. It's still a little too early.
Finally, we finish in Dallas, and Cowboys fans have said to me, as Dak Prescott goes, the Cowboys go. Should not be the case, in my opinion. It should not be leaning. They should not be leaning on Dak Prescott. They should be leaning. They should be leaning. And Mike, I turn to you first. And we've asked this question and made this statement so many times. It should not be on Dak Prescott. It should be on Ezekiel Elliott.
Absolutely. It really should be on Zeke. And we hinted at this a little bit last week. And this is, I think, where I blatantly cut Cole off last week, which I'm good. My audio is much better, Bud, this week. So I haven't completely just cut you off in mid-sentence. But that's the point that I was trying to hammer home about Ezekiel Elliott, is that when you have a team that gets too reliant on their quarterback and doesn't utilize the weapons around him, all of a sudden you're looking at a quarterback that either has burnout, you risk injury, or at the same time, you risk the specter of having this offense become stale, something that other teams can pick up on. Zeke needs to get the ball a lot more. Give the ball to Tony Pollard as well. I mean, he's a capable back, somebody that can really allow some pressure off of Dak Prescott and give him the opportunity to play his game. That's where he's going to be able to perk up and utilize weapons like CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper not there anymore. Obviously, that's a little bit of a hit. But when you look at CeeDee in terms of what he can do at the wide receiver position, Dalton Schultz, I know there's a lot of questions right now with regard to his contract and things of that nature, but he'll still be there. There's no question about it. And all of a sudden, that offense can really come alive. But to me, the key and the catalyst about it is getting Ezekiel Elliott involved. If he becomes somebody that a team has to worry about every down, every single opportunity about whether or not he's going to get the ball, opens up so much for the Dallas offense.
We finish our preview with Cole's thoughts on the Cowboys, and I make the same point. Ezekiel Elliott has got to touch the ball. Tony Pollard has got to touch the ball, and not receiving, they have to run.
I think it's disappointing that they have a two-headed monster in the backfield, but game after game after game, they choose to have both of them touch the ball in handoffs combined 20, maybe 25 times in a game. And really, to me, the key to the Cowboys season is not Ezekiel Elliott, it's not Dak Prescott, it's not the wide receiving core, it's not the now aging offensive line, it's not the defensive line that shows promise, but sometimes it's like a hills and valley type of thing with them. It's not the secondary where they're happy they got a stud in the making in Trayvon Diggs. It's not a linebacking core that you don't really know if they can really rise to the occasion. It is the fact that Gerald Jones does not get rid of Mike McCarthy. I'm sorry. For the fact that you have this guy who believes that you must throw the ball 50 times in the game, every single game to win, is a detriment to your team making it to the Super Bowl. So I will say this to Cowboys fan looking at the camera. Your team will disappoint you once again and not make the NFC Championship for a 27th year because of Mike McCarthy. It isn't because I cannot stand you all. It isn't because I want to see rub your nose in your face that the Cowboys suck. No, it's because you have a head coach who seems to have his head so far of his behind while he's looking at the Lombardi Trophy that he won when he was a Packers head coach that is sickening. The fact that he has the ability to run but chooses not to, but maybe 1 or 2 games out the season, is to the detriment of the team. Period.
That's our preview of the NFC East with Mike DeBay. He'll join us each and every week to talk all things NFL. Thank you, Mike. I love you. Thanks for coming on.
Always love you guys. Always my honor and pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to join you again next Friday. Have a great week, gentlemen.
Pleasure always, man.
Thank you, Mike. Mike DeBay, our senior NFL analyst, joining us as he does every Friday, take us all the way through the season and take us all the way to and through the Super Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona. 27 after the hour, we're due for a break, and when we come back, we're going to put a little hodgepodge of stuff together here at the bottom of the hour, have a little fun with the folks in the chat, and just continue to roll right along. You're inside hour number 3 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
You are inside hour number 3 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. You know, we haven't shown love in the chat in a minute. Let's go to it, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So let me go. Okay, here we go. We'll start with Sick here. He says, you know, he's a Snowman and Cole. I know it's just me, but Chris Bass reminds me of Kumo D for some reason. How cool can one black man be? I agree. Sick also
exactly
wanted to ask Chris Bass if you think some couples were bad on the Scrabble board, do you remember Uncle Phil and Aunt Vivian?
Oh yeah, my God.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did a parody on that, which was hilarious. But
yeah.
He also says this Amber Alert. Ben Simmons was just seen at a restaurant in Brooklyn with James Harden reenacting the restaurant scene from Heat. And it was so wrong. And speaking,
we need to do a PSA, please.
Yes. If you have seen this fool anywhere in your jurisdiction, please report him to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson because he has not seen the field, the court in a year. In fact, the year anniversary will be in 10 days. So next Monday. He will not have played an NBA game for a year. So if you have seen this gentleman, report him quickly to Snowman in the Morning so that we can redirect him to where he needs to be and not where he wants to be. Idiot.
Yeah. Not where he will. Oh, jeez.
But there's another Amber Alert. He says Ben Simmons now was seen in Los Angeles for an LA fashion show, not to model, but to confront Morris Day in the time after they met in Minneapolis. This time, Morris said, Jerome.
Lord.
Wise says the base, he'll be checking them out later on Facebook.
What's up, Wise?
Wise says the end introduction to how you can find Chris Bass is the favorite part of the segment of Into the Boom Shakalaka. Appreciate that, Ryan.
Yeah, we got to make a correction with the title. Chris and I, Chris sent me the correction, and I know Cole with his EP prowess will make the correction. We'll have it ready for next Friday.
All right. Deet says sick. No, you didn't. By the way, that scene wasn't even shot in New York. It was shot here in Connecticut in the Star Cafe in Milford, Connecticut. Isn't that something? Oh my God!
How about that?
Six says Deets. Yes, I did, and it was painful.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, Deets says Cole. The quote that I mentioned earlier in the segment with Mike Debate when I said that I know there was a defensive-minded head coach who said, "I want every offensive possession to end with a kick." He said that quote came from the great Herm Edwards, and how appropriate that is from an Eagles great. But for those who don't know, yes, he was a head coach of many teams, but he was he played on the Eagles. He was with them on the Super Bowl 16 team, and he was the recipient of getting the fumble and returning it for a touchdown to complete the Miracle of the Meadowlands Part 1. Yes, Herm Edwards. Andrew, a huge Giants fan, he says plainly, stay healthy. Number one. He continues to say, we have the weapons. They all need to be on the field at the same time. I agree. Dietz also says, the Giants need one word to be better. Block. I do agree. Dietz also says for the Cowboys, no, not Zeke, Tony Pollard, meaning who needs to actually see the ball more. Here's the major issue with that, man, and I think you understand this logic easily, brother. Since Pollard doesn't have the big time contract, but Zeke does, more of the focuses have to go to him. But I understand football mind to football mind. Yes, I understand. The hungrier back should be the back that receives the more carries. And the hungrier back is easily, of the two, Tony Pollard. Not even a question. Andrew says, going back to the Giants, says, Neal and Thomas are a great duo that will really help with blocking. And I saw that they're trying to address the trenches. Of course, they addressed it with Thibodeau on the defensive end. And I saw they addressed it also on the offensive end, too, in the draft. So, yeah, I agree. I think it will help them with blocking. I just don't believe they'll take the leap into contention. I think they will take the stride to it. Ryan McCarthy says, no relation to Mike McCarthy. Thank the Lord, Ryan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're not related to Mike. Because if you were, I would say to you, please get it into your cousin's or brother's head that he needs to run the ball more. This 45 to 50 throws a game crap has to stop. Yes, I would probably bug you until the message got through to him. Dietz says, Cole, you mean the Super Bowl that Charles Woodson won for Mike McCarthy? Yes, Super Bowl 45, the very same one, the one where the MVP went to Aaron Rodgers, but it was the one where Charles Woodson was the X factor and the big time player, the biggest time player in Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers getting their lone Super Bowl trophy. Eagles Elite Podcast.
Why did you mention Aaron Rodgers? Yes.
Because unfortunately, Dietz mentioned the Super Bowl that they won, and it was with Aaron Rodgers actually winning the MVP of that game.
How?
But it basically was Woodson who handed it to him,
and Woodson should have been the MVP, not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and Cool of Eagles Elite Podcast says, "Walk it to him, Wentz." No bitterness from Eagles camp at all. None whatsoever about Carson Wentz.
No comment.
None whatsoever. Oh my gosh, you all are too much. I love you guys in the chat.
We love the chat. We love the folks in the chat. We love the folks that tune in, and the numbers are starting to grow. And we're working with Wise and Real Wise Radio to really sell this thing. If you want to be an advertiser on the program, and a shout out to my friend Charles Faulkner and Black Lion Security, he's going to be one of our feature sponsors. So we're looking for some feature sponsors and some feature advertisers. So if you want to get a hold of the big package that I'm offering at a good rate right now up until August 1st. Drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. We're tweaking a lot of things. As I mentioned earlier in the show, a new program is going to premiere from Snowman Multimedia. I made that change last night. It was known as Snowman Digital Media, but now it's Snowman Multimedia. Francis Battaglia is really helping out in getting the new project that Cole and I are going to start out there. It's going to start at an hour a week and build from there. It's probably going to be in the evenings, just a whole bunch of stuff. And Cole, I made you a promise. When everything starts to pop off, I'm taking you with me. Everything's starting to come aboard, man. And I want you to come aboard with me, especially on this new venture that is being put together. I love you, I trust you, and I want you with me on this ride.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on the ride. I love you too, brother. And when you actually push forward with actually wanting to do this back in February? Because you said on air that this is a thought you've had for years, but you actually decided to push the button on it in the winter. I said, I want to make sure that I don't, that I seamlessly make the transition into what you do. I didn't want to think that I was, this person is like, okay, well, I'm here, so I'm going to just take over everything. And
right,
because I want to respect the fact that this creation has been in effect for many years before I even knew Snowman in the Morning was a thing, or that even a brother like Brian Snow existed. So, I wanted to come at it from the aspect of, well, yeah, I was first a fan of the show, and then I was a fan of the guy behind the show, and come at it from that aspect, and say, okay, well, I'll lend whatever I can. And then when you had to go under the knife in April, I said, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to roll up the sleeves and do my best to make sure this train rolls, but to also do so, yeah, with my elbow grease for sure, but with the memory of my partner and the creator of the show in mind, and to never forget that. And not even
I
me.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
I thought when I spoke with Francis last night from Media One Sales, and him wanting to really sell the show and get it over the air. There was a question he asked about you, and it made me think about the billing and how the title of the show should be. And he mentioned a really good point that with the title Snowman in the Morning, it's pigeonholed us into the morning, and it's true. But I still want to keep the show. But now he asked me some very, very hard questions about the billing and how important you are. And I told him flat out, you're very important. I mean, if you didn't take the chair when I went under the knife, 5 weeks would have been gone without the show, and we'd have lost the momentum and the fan base that we created. So there are some things that Cole and I are going to talk about, and we are going to tweak. But I decided, put it in a brand new project and build it from the ground up, because Snowman in the Morning is a thing now. And it makes no sense to me to try to tweak this when I've been tweaking it for 8 years, and now getting a little bit of momentum, talking to some advertisers for this show, and keeping it over the internet. So what Cole and I are going to do, and Cole already gave the okay this morning, I'm getting the name wrong. Let me shout out Francis Battaglia for reaching out to me, and I want to get the name correct. And here it is. And I thought of the Snow and Cole show for our new project, but no, that's not gonna. It's media airtime that's going to help us sell this new show. And he asked me, do you want to keep the Snowman moniker? Yes, I am going to keep it, because my wife basically said, and Cole, you agreed when I talked to you about this, the Snowman brand is out there. She said to me, use it. She said, use it. So I think what it's going to come down to is the name. Either it's going to be the Snowman Show or Snowman on Sports. But believe me, Cole is going to be involved. Dietz is going to be involved. It's going to start at an hour weekly just to get, just to get on the air. It'll be a production of Comey Media and Snowman Multimedia. And like I said, Cole, I want you involved. The billing may not be the same as Snowman in the Morning, but doggone it, I need you. I need the extra set of hands, the extra set of eyes. I am still recovering before I take the lead chair back here on Snowman in the morning. Waiting for some reinforcements, equipment-wise, that'll get to me before the end of the month. But I said all that to include Cole. I love you very much. You have been a godsend to me, from being a fan to being a frequent guest to being involved in the show. You getting the slate together and doing some of the production has taken a lot off my back. I'm going to cry here, so forgive me. But thank you to Francis Patalia and Media Airtime for getting a hold of me and asking some very, very tough questions, and putting a plan together on how we're going to market the new thing. And Cole, I could not have done this without you, without your okay to pursue this and move forward and just go. I love you, brother. Thank you.
I love you too. And we talked about this 4 years ago, and I haven't forgot about those conversations. And it looks like some of those seeds that we both have planted have started to take off and grow in ways that we didn't even think was possible. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, here we are indeed. So Cole and I are laying the foundation for a new program, co-produced by Comey Media and Snowman Multimedia. And I'm glad I snatched the domain name of Snowman Multimedia last night. I wanted to get that done first. That's the foundation. That's everything. That's everything. So I'm going to tweak the Snowman Digital Media logo. That's gonna remain the same. I'll do that later today, and I'll get that to you. But folks, there's going to be something special, something new coming from both of us. And again, like you said, Cole, we talked about this 4 years ago in planting some seeds, and now here they are starting to sprout, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's funny. Sometimes we think that, when these things start to happen, you believe they're supposed to happen as soon as the thought process comes. But
right,
as we both have grown. I mean, both of us are currently now the same age, but that won't be in about 5 weeks. But
hey, like I said, I'm looking forward to number 50, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So is you're looking forward to 50 next month, and I'm looking forward to 50 in the spring. Next spring. You start to understand that, man, you appreciate more after you go through things, and you can look back and say, man, I really believe, I know I was not ready for whatever opportunity is about to come, because I need to go through some of these hurdles and go through the hoops, and sometimes actually trip and fall and smash my face and have the have the failures, which turn into learning lessons, and it doesn't turn into the failure that just simply sinks you down into nothingness. For you to say, wow, okay, yes, I wasn't ready to handle it then. I know I'm ready to handle it now because I appreciate it more.
Yes.
And because of that, it's a lot of things we talked about is coming true. And a few things that I think we both haven't mentioned to each other, not because it's secret, but because it's along the lines of, okay, this is something that I want to have happen, but I'm not sure it's going to come to pass yet. Even some of those things are starting to happen. Like, for example, Comey Media. If you were to tell me 5 years ago that I would actually be producing shows for different things, and it has nothing to do with Cole sports, I would be laughing at your face. But that's exactly what's happened. I mean, it's half production of this show, be half production of another show. Kobe Media is producing a true crime podcast that's at my job. I mean, and that's of course along with Cole Sports and even a couple of other dormant things that I'm going to start doing in the summer too. I know you mentioned, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that you were going to have a Snowman Unfiltered return.
Yep.
And
I sure am.
And I've been wanting to brush off my interview platform too for a minute. But I just haven't felt the time was right for it. But I think the time is now becoming more and more ripe as the time goes on to actually have that return too. So yeah, if you were to tell me that I would be having Comey Media produce now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shows, nah, I'll be laughing in your face. But here I am, and Comey Media can actually say, yes, it produces that many shows.
Yeah. And Comey Media, I give you full credit with all the intros that you do for this show. Comey Media definitely has gone in and split the production duties. The show wouldn't be where it is without you, without Comey Media. Man, I'm going to, what I'm going to do after the show, besides take a break and sit outside, I'm going to strip this studio and put everything back together and make sure that the audio runs properly for all of our stations that pick up the show, so everyone can pick it up. I'm working on a couple stations in Alabama, a couple in Kentucky, because we're gonna have some coverage of University of Kentucky. We're gonna have some coverage of Alabama and Auburn. We're gonna have some stuff in Carolina. We're gonna have some stuff in Carolina.
Yeah.
So I got a lot in the works, not just for Snowman in the Morning, but for the Snowman show. And that's the working something. I'm going to go ahead and make the call right now. And Cole, I want you to write this down. At 10:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the new show that is going to be built and co-produced by Comey Media and Snowman Multimedia is going to be called Snowman on Sports. There it is. Now I just have to build the darn thing. Wise said, I mentioned that Sam, Cool, Ben, and myself are working on an NFC East show. Oh, we'll produce the hell out of that. Snowman Multimedia, we'll produce the hell out of that. And all the folks in the chat that hang with us for now 4 hours a day, I appreciate all of you. Am I giving up Snowman in the Morning? Hell no. Matter of fact, do something for me if you would, old great producer of mine. The question is, am I going to give up Snowman in the Morning?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
No, I knew
Going
that
to
was
build something new, something exciting. Like I said, the title will be Snowman on Sports. It'll be the same kind of sports talk, but more rapid fire. 4 quarters, 15 minutes each, probably down to 12, so we can sell the daylights out of it. And yeah, so y'all heard it. Snowman on Sports will make its debut soon. That's the title. That's the name of the show. And in the immortal words of Mets voice Howie Rose, put it in the book.
All right. Yeah, you heard it here. Snowman
Go ahead and put it in the book. Snowman on Sports. And I'm going to shoot for football season. And I think that's the Yeah, that's the show we're going to put across the country, because Snowman in the Morning is established. And yes, it's an internet show. There are some stations that want to pick it up. We're going to have to buy airtime for it, which is fine. But doggone it, there's nothing in the book that says we can't do both and get paid for it, and paid handsomely. In fact, throughout the course of the weekend, and I'm probably going to do most of my work on Sunday, because Saturday, wife and I are going to hang out for a while, and which means I know I'm going to be up late tonight working on some stuff. And I know people are going to say, but it's Friday. Yeah, I know it's Friday, but I'm talking about $2 billion in our bank account within 2 years. Not million, billion. And I remember Cole just having this big blank eating grin on his face when I said it aloud the first time in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And Cole didn't even ask me, what kind of goals do you have? I simply said, I want him to come with me, and I want to put $2 billion annually. Hell, I want my company to bring in 4 within 2 years. And someone asked me, what if you don't make the goal? It will not be for lack of effort. It will not be for a lack of trying. Patrick Voss, who's been terrific. Clark Monroe with his NHL. Of course, you heard Mike Debate this morning talking NFL with us. I got an NBA. I have an NBA analyst on the way, Barry Ibois, who's a fan of the Rod Peterson show. Barry Ibois will join us and take the NBA load off our backs. There is so much happening and so much going on. I'm glad I got notebooks in front of me as well as my tablet to help keep up with all of it. As I said, I have equipment reinforcements on the way, and I'll be damned if I don't get them soon. Andrew and Wise and Sick Diggy and Chris Dietz, and there's a fellow who has hung with me and hung with this show, even with all its hiatuses and forced timeout. And and Francis put it to me plain. You're not supposed to be doing a show without getting paid for it. And he's right.
Mm.
He is absolutely right. He put it to me plain. He said it the way my wife said it to me. And he also said last night in the conversation, now you have a business. Now it's time to run a business. And he's right. This can't be a hobby anymore. I've already made my first sponsor pitch to Black Lion Security. I'm going to make a pitch to Real Deal Financial. And it's not a matter of wanting to do it. It's a matter of needing to do it and do it fast, because I want to bring in $2,500 a month and be able to cut a check for Cole saying, thanks for the assist. I may return the title to just Snowman in the Morning. Been thinking about that. Been thinking about that, just returning the title to its roots. And it's nothing against Cole. Believe me, this is nothing. And I mean this. This is nothing against Cole. I've tweaked with the idea of returning the show to its title and returning the show to its roots. I've already done that with the logo. I've already done that with the logo. It's a matter of consistency. And I can honestly say that for the 8 years, almost 9, that I've been doing this show, consistency has lacked until lately, until I brought Cole aboard, because Cole is the one that now handles the slate. He does all the video production. I asked him, can you come up with a intro from mic to mic when I bring Todd Hamilton on in 5 minutes? He had it to me within an hour. man, if you were closer, if we were in the same studio, I would not care what was being seen. I would walk over to you and give you the biggest hug because you've been there for me and with me. Personal, professional. You're one of the ultimate professionals I've had a chance to work with. And you're a very, very dear brother to me. You're not a friend, you're a brother. And I could not ask for a better person to be behind the scenes. Would you mind if I returned the show to its original title? Would you? I want your answer on that. Or do you want me to keep it the way it is?
No, I don't think I'd mind. Yeah, I don't think I mind. I say that because I think, to really be blunt, I mean, this is your vehicle. I would love to. I'd love to have some feel into it, but this is your vehicle, and I don't want to disrupt what you want to do with it. By having you have to look at me and say, "Well, I can't really make this step unless I have you here because, well, your name's on the marquee." Now, if it's one where I guess we're actually going to go split down the middle on it, that'll be different. But
right.
Like you said it. I mean, you did this show 8 years before I was even part of it. So yeah. But that's you. That's up to you. If you want to have my name still on
I will pray and think about it. All right. 11:02, 2 minutes after the hour. We're inside hour number 4. We'll take a break. We'll do the intro. And when we come back, Todd Hamilton will join me. We'll talk some sports and we'll talk some life. Todd Hamilton is next. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And we're back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
It is official SIT Morn. It is official SIT Morn. And you are now inside hour number 4 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Garoppolo fires. It is caught. Still on his feet is Kittle with a big play and the stiff arm. George Kittle. Flags fly. He's down to the 30. What a run by George Kittle. Take it on, everybody.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Mike to Mike, a new segment debuting very soon on this show and on this hour. Welcome back, Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson, Brian Snow on the other end. Let me show some love to the chat before we continue. Wyatt says, I appreciate both you brothers. I know I speak for Brian when I say this. Man, we both appreciate you.
Indeed.
A ton, Wyatt.
Indeed, we do. Indeed, we do.
Yeah. The 6 says, Snowman, did you snatch it like a Deion Sanders pick?
I sure enough did.
Andrew, talking about the show concept, says this is going to be great. Can't wait to be along for the ride as a commentator or listener. Well, we can't wait to have you join.
Can't wait, man. We can't wait.
And speaking about one of the podcasts that I produce, and actually I voice and host too, Y says Cole gave me my first voiceover credit. Yes, I did. Wise was on the show last month, and he did a wonderful job. And,
beautiful.
Well, I'll quickly talk about it. The show is titled Return to View, and it's a true crime podcast that I do once a month. It's actually on the USA Today network, and it is exactly what the title is about. You know, we return to view cases that are unsolved, solved, closed, open, and cold. And and so I needed voiceover help. He was like, sure, and did it. And yes, I will definitely, if it were to come to it, I definitely will ask you and others to actually do voiceover stuff too on it. So yeah, there you go.
Love it.
Yeah. Wise also said, I mentioned that Sam, Cool, Ben, and myself are working on an MCE show. I got a question for you, Wise. So you got Sam and Cool, they're Eagles. They're from the Eagles perspective. You got Ben, the Cowboys perspective. You're a Giants perspective. I know of a woman who covers the Commanders. I might pitch that to her. I don't know if you would like it, but I might pitch it to her, and then you all have the perspective of all 4 teams if she were to say yes. The woman is absolutely not, and I actually have 2. But the woman I have in mind now, she's absolutely knowledgeable of football in general and the Commanders in particular. So if and actually I have another woman in mind if she were to turn it down, and she has a wealth of knowledge on that too. So
something else I'm working on, and that's a 49ers podcast with Stephen Box, another good friend of mine, and Ryan at Verderata. In case I can't hook up with Steven, but Ryan's my 49ers insider. I'm a 49ers insider, and people want to make fun of me and said, oh, you're just a fan. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Mm-hmm. And right. Who's sitting here doing this?
Right.
All right. I think Todd is here.
Give me a minute. Andrew says, nice wise. D says, college football is covered from him. It definitely will be. You will hear a lot of what he does in the fall, and you will love it. Wise says, there's plenty of money out here for all of us to be eating lovely. Exactly, sir. I agree with you, Wise. And Six says,
absolutely.
Fellas, a good financial advisor, an accountant, and an attorney would be needed as well. You're correct, sir. As long as they're all separate entities. Totally agree.
And that's what we have.
Totally agree.
That's what we have.
All
And
right.
a shout to Charles Faulkner. He's been a big assist for me as well. All right. I think Mike to Mike is ready. I'll let you roll the intro and bring in our guest.
All right. Here we go.
Wanting to do this segment for a while, and now it has come to life, and I'll explain where I got the title from. But our guest today on Mike to Mike is a very good friend of mine, a very good baseball voice, and now he is going to be doing more duties with the Murray State Racers. Please welcome my good friend, Todd Hamilton. Good morning, Todd. How are you?
No, man, it is so good to be on with you guys, and thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you today. And yes, you're right. I'm getting ready to start a new journey and head from Hopkinsville, Kentucky to Murray, Kentucky, and work with the radio station there that carries Murray State Athletics. Plus, they are going to expand my duties on ESPN Plus. I did 7 baseball and softball games this spring and was fortunate enough to go with the softball team to Tuscaloosa for the NCAA regionals and do those on radio. And that was a great bit of fun. But you know, for a guy like me who 20 years ago was basically kind of kicked to the curb, if you will, from doing college sports, but I lived a lot of life between then and now. But to have the opportunity to go back and be involved at Murray State, a rival school to the school that I once worked for at Western Kentucky. It's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to getting down to Murray.
I remember you covering Western Kentucky. I have followed. I followed your career. I've listened to a lot of your games, and man, I tell you what, I am so happy. I'm so happy for you because we talked a lot, and. Yes, we had just wondered, both of us have wondered aloud, when is that big opportunity going to come? You know, when is that big chance going to happen? And Todd, I am very, very happy for you that that big chance of yours not only has come, that it's now here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, it's a dream come true for me. You know, who would have thought it at my age, at 58, yeah, I'm revealing my age when I say this. I would get a chance to go back and work college sports again on a regular basis. And, you know, this all started – it's a really bizarre story. And if I told the whole thing to you, we'd be here till midnight probably. but no, it kind of started about 3 years ago. When Kevin Saul became athletic director at Murray State, he was an assistant AD at the University of Kentucky. And he and Dave Winder, their sports information director, I've known Dave for many years. Kevin's goal was to get on every radio station, basically from Bowling Green West, to talk about Murray State. And he's done that. He's been on just about every radio station west of that. And we called it a podcast, but it was basically a 15-minute interview. And we put it on our website on the station I was working at the time at WHOP in Hopkinsville. And last year we had to put it on hiatus when my wife got sick. She was diagnosed first with colon cancer in 2020. And then after that, we thought everything was okay. It was in remission. And then in early 2021, they discovered there was a spot in the lung and a spot in the liver, and she had 2 major surgeries. And then last June, The doctor said they could do no more. I mean, it had come back and it spread to that point. But in the process, they were always checking on me and wanting to know, how I was doing and all that. And unfortunately, Dana passed away in early November of last year. And thank God I had basketball season, high school wise, here to do to kind of help me deal with the grief. And along about January, Dave and I get to talking again about, hey, let's renew Racer Talk. Let's get it back going. So we did. And the thing that convinced me the most, if there was ever any opportunities at Murray State, Kevin Saul called me one morning. I was finishing a sportscast, and I was literally saying my last words when I was sliding the phone to answer it. And I've said, that's sports on WHOP. I'm Todd Hamilton. And so I picked the phone up and I said, so is this the day, Kevin, that we're telling the world that Murray State's going to the Missouri Valley Conference? He said, no, I want to know how you're doing. And we conversed for a bit of time. And I said then, if the opportunity ever came for me to go and work and do some work at Murray State, I would like to do it, because how many Division I college athletic directors would pick the phone up and call you just out of the blue and want to know how you're doing? I mean, how you're dealing with grief and everything like that. I would say very few, if any.
Yeah.
So we started talking then about ESPN Plus, and they had been trying to get me to come do that for about a 3-year stretch of time. And I finally said, you know what? Why not? And fortunately, I was able to get in on it. The first couple of games, I will tell you, were rough, because when you've done radio all your life, it's hard to transition over to do television. And Brian, you know that with doing some of the things you're doing. But after that, I kind of got into a groove and liked it. And, Neil Bradley, who is their radio voice, retired from his job at the radio station in Murray that carries the games. And he recommended me for the job there. So in a way, I may be the guy in waiting when Neil decides in 3 years or so that he's going to give up doing the racers. But I tell you what, I have been blown away by just, having spent time down there in the latter part of basketball season to watch them do what they did last year. Even though Matt McMahon left and took a lot of the players to LSU with him and others transferred to other places, Steve Prohm, who's come back for his second stint as the Racers coach, he's built a team. Basically, he went out and recruited himself a team, and I think they're going to be pretty good in basketball. Their women's program has been, Rochelle Cadwell's or Rochelle Turner has been on a roll with that program, and she's got a lot of players back. They got the extra year due to COVID. Dean Hood is their football coach, and they're looking for an exciting year. They're last year in the OVC before moving to the Missouri Valley in 2023. And baseball and softball, 40-win season. First trip to the NCAA tournament, and that was truly a blast for me to do and to be with Kara Amundsen and her group. And I'm looking forward to this opportunity to take it and run. And right now I'm doing the Hoptown Hoppers of the Ohio Valley League. This is our 10th season. Our games are on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch and listen. The pictures are a little primitive, Snowman, back to the early days of television.
Yeah.
See little bits of this and that, but you get the audio to go with it most nights on home games. And then, matter of fact, while I'm taking a little downtime, I'm out doing a couple of road games to help them out. And it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy getting to meet a lot of the kids from around the country. And we have a player on our team that's from Japan this year.
Wow.
And his name is Ren Tachioka. And if you watch him bat, you would swear up and down you're watching the second coming of Ichiro. I mean the stance, the style, everything is familiar to Ichiro Suzuki of the Mariners, and I'm sure he worshipped the ground in Japan that Ichiro walked on. So it's a lot of fun to do that and be a part of it. And 41 years in the business, and I'm very blessed to have had all the opportunities I've had, and looking forward to writing this new chapter of life and see where it takes us.
Todd Hamilton joining us on the premiere edition of Mike to Mike. Want to sponsor a segment on the program? Drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. This is going to be a very, very frequent segment, and I look forward to Todd coming back on the show very frequently. We're going to share stories. He with Murray State, me with UNCG, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see more of your work with Murray State. Todd, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure. I love you, and I can't wait to see what this next chapter brings for you.
Well, Snowman, same here, and brother, I'm so proud of you and what's going to happen to you with UNCG. And I know some of the struggles that you've been through with your health, and you look great. And we will continue keeping you in prayers on our end, and we wish you nothing but the best. And we'll look forward to coming back in a little bit of time and talking some racer stuff as we get down there and get involved in those programs. And you know, we may tell a few sportscasting stories in general, because as a friend has told me, I should write a book, and maybe one of these days I will. But in the meantime, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to come back and share some great stories with you in the days and the months and weeks ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Todd. I love you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Love you as well. You guys take care and have a great Friday.
All right.
Thank you very much. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our premiere edition of Mike to Mike. Man, what a story.
Yeah.
What a story. We're going to have a lot of stories like that. Here's how Mike to Mike was born. And you want to hear, here's a funny broadcast story for you. 23 after the hour, hour number 4 of Snowman in the Morning. And, you know, I remember Cole asking me, are you ready to take on a full 4 hours? Hell yeah, I'm right here. And I'm getting stronger every single day. I'll do a health update after our next break. But here's how Mike to Mike was born. When I met the now retired voice of the UNI Panthers, Gary Reimer, he has a segment on his pregame show called The Other Mike, where he interviews the visiting broadcaster to get a perspective on the team that the Panthers are facing. I drove from Gary, Indiana to Cedarville, Iowa, with with 2 stops in between for lunch, 3, lunch, gas, and a bathroom break in Iowa City. Because I had to drive through Iowa City to get to Cedarville. And I see the Unidome. The McLeod Center is like right next to the Unidome. I was so tired when I got to Cedarville. I got my equipment. I didn't ride with the team. I was covering Chicago State at the time. I didn't ride with the team, but I went down to Cedarville. I found a nice quiet spot in their computer lab, and I passed out. And here comes this fella in a suit with a purple tie and purple shirt, and he says, I'm looking for the play-by-play voice of Chicago State. And I look up and I said, well, you found him. So we did Mike to Mike that evening, and Gary has been a wonderful friend of mine since for 14 years. And if all goes right, he'll be my next guest on Mike to Mike, and we're going to share a lot of stories. We're due for a break 25 after the hour, and after the break, I'll give you a health update. And then Cole and I are just going to make y'all laugh, and we're going to honor the folks in the chat. This is Snowman in the Morning, back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
And down the stretch we come on this Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. And yeah, let's head to the chat real quick. Sick says, nice intro to the segment. Thank you, Sick. I appreciate that. Andrew says, cool intro. I appreciate that too. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Cool. He says, the beast is coming. I like that. I like that.
Yep.
Sick offered his condolences to the guest on Mike to Mike, Todd Hamilton. And of course, we shared those same sentiments. Yeah. Cool of the Eagle Leads podcast says, I think you should keep the name. It shows the evolution of the original product, but announces you are consistently evolving and are together. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not giving up Snowman in the Morning. It's already there. But Snowman on Sports, i.e. the Snowman Show, will debut soon. And Cole's going to be a part of it. You guys in the chat are going to be a part of it. It's going to start in an hour. It's going to be an hour weekly. That's the package we're going to put together. And that's what I'm going to present to Francis in terms of seeking sponsors and getting seed money for it. But we're going to have not one, but two syndicated shows. One over radio stations and one over the internet. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get paid. We're going to get paid for both. It's going to take some hard work, very hard work. But you know what? I will officially declare this is no longer a hobby. This is my business. And to anyone who is not with this, thanks for being along for the ride. And don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
No. Yeah, you at least kind, because I'd say to those who don't want to be along for the ride, okay, well, have a Coke and a smile and shut up. That's pretty much what I feel.
As Nino Brown said best in New Jack City, and I love New Jack City, and Wesley Snipes, who played Nino Brown, Money talks. Bullshit runs the marathon. So, see ya, and I wouldn't want to be you.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
Nor have I. Nor have I. All right, 28 before the top of the hour, about 20 before we close up shop today. And here's something that we can touch on.
Okay.
Sound and fury signifying not a damn thing. I'm talking about Deebo Samuel.
Oh, Deebo Samuel.
In training camp. Yeah. How'd that trade work out for you fools that said he was going to get shipped elsewhere? The floor is yours.
You know, the way ESPN wants to tell it, it almost seems as though, and yes, I cursed intentionally and on purpose. It seems as if they still want to stick by the narrative that they wanted to circulate back in April, that Deebo is not happy and Deebo wants to be traded. From the standpoint of he attended minicamp, but he didn't really go through all of what everybody went through in the minicamp. I was like, oh, okay, so you're still trying to hedge your bets and say, okay, well, yeah, he appeared, but he wasn't a willing participant. Okay, interesting. That's nice to know. Here's the question I have to ask. If he was forcing the trade and there were many prospects out there the 49ers could get in return for him, and this talk started in April, here we are now in June, and the trade hasn't happened. Do you think a trade is actually going to happen? Oh, no, let me ask another question. Do you think a trade was ever going to happen? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm doing this all wrong. The late, great Bishop Bullwinkle. Do you actually think that a trade that was supposedly leaked out into the public was going to happen for Deebo Samuel?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
Now, you know, I can go on and on about what ESPN has said, but in fact, I will let you all have something else to say. Okay, ESPN, explain yourself. Why are you saying that you feel as though Deebo Samuel wants to no longer be a 49er and he wants to be traded? I will wait. I will give you ample opportunity. Really? No, I really want to know. I'm really interested. So you say that Deebo Samuel wants to be dealt from San Francisco. You say that he doesn't want to be in the Bay Area. You say he's sick of Silicon Valley and that he wanted to return home, and home is around South Carolina where he went to college. So you're saying that all of this is supposed to happen, yet it hasn't happened. Okay, I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
So am I. Anything at all?
Oh, you were finished.
Any kind of
retort.
This is what I'm starting to get sick of seeing when it comes to ESPN. You want to paint these narratives, and the narratives have been more false than true. And here's another example. So negotiations went sour, you say? I don't think it went sour as much as I think it was more along the lines of Deebo has a number and the 49ers have a number. They haven't come to that same number yet, so they parted separate ways amicably. And then by the time they would come back and reconvene, they probably will get to that number. And it looks like to me they're closer to that number. Now, the reason why I believe they aren't in a hurry to actually sign the name and the dotted line yet is because they also have to consider the rookie contract of Nick Bosa being over too. So they're weighing those options, and they want to make sure that the team is protected in terms of the cap, which I get. So
Oh, and they're gonna resign Bosa also. I mean, he's too important to them.
Yeah, they're gonna resign both of them because both of them are important to the team. In fact, to me, they're the two most important cogs to the 49ers engine and vehicle rolling. So they want to have the cap friendly number and they want to have the salary friendly number for both Samuel and Bosa, but they also want to make them both satisfied in the number that they receive. Sometimes it is not that right number, but it takes time and negotiation for them to get there. So they probably will get there. It just hasn't happened yet. But
they're going to get there. They're going to get there.
But is Samuel a 49er today? Yes. Is Bosa still a 49er today? Yes. So it means to me that the 49ers are thinking about, well, okay, we know how important you both are. We're going to sign you both because we believe you all are 49ers for life. That is how the 49ers think.
And for hour 4, George the Animal Kittle bringing us in. Kevin Burkhardt on the call. That, of course, was from 2019 against the New Orleans Saints. And speaking of that 4-letter network, I'm going to mention a name that my partner is going to cringe, and then I'm just going to sit back and give him the floor. And I'll put this in the form of a question I'll put this in the form of a question and an answer that my partner said on the daily. Quote, Kendrick Perkins, how can I put this succinctly? Oh, yeah. You tripping. Close quote. Now I'm going to set my partner up and give him the floor with that, because all NBA season long, and we've only touched on Kendrick Perkins, and the reason being there was actually action on the floor that we paid attention to, like most hosts don't do. And yeah, I'm calling them all out. I will lob it with a question. Why was Kendrick Perkins on the Lakers' jock from the start of the season? And yet when they fell on their ass, he was nowhere to be found. And as I reach for my tablet, Cole Johnson, the floor is yours.
All right. It is this cut and dried. It is obvious we know where your bread is buttered, Mr. Perkins. You know, you felt emboldened 10 months ago when you came with the big, bold statement on Twitter saying, quote, the Los Angeles Lakers, as presently constituted, is going to win 70 games. Carry on. Close quote.
I remember that ish.
Yes, I do too. And I also remember when it all went south. he was on the bandwagon of they suck. Well, why could you be like one of your ex-teammates in LeBron James? Why couldn't you be like him when he said, keep talking about my squad, our personnel ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our time in this league, etc., etc., etc. Do me one favor, please, and I mean please. Praying hand emoji. Keep that same narrative energy when it begins. That's all I ask. Hashtag thank you. Crown emoji. You know, sometimes Mr.
Do you really believe he believed that piece of bulls? Okay, go on.
I personally, I do think Mr. James did. Mr. Perkins, I'm not quite so sure he believed it, but it sounded so good, and I think he got caught up in the hype that he saw LeBron and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook on the same team. And yeah, you could throw in Rajon Rondo too, and
before
Carmelo,
they sent him packing.
And Carmelo Anthony. I think he figured that he figured that they would be a championship team, but he forgot one thing. The year was at the time 2021, not 2011. Because if all of them were on the same team 2011, you probably would have a point. But they weren't. It was 2022, and you were dealing with a Mr. Glass in Anthony Davis, and I love him. I love the way he plays when he's healthy because he invests the time to ball on both ends of the floor. And when he is healthy, he is the Lakers' best player by far.
By far, yes.
Unfortunately, the one who now wears number 6 is the best player on the team because Davis can't stay on it long enough. And that's the only reason why he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Russell Westbrook, who he's so proud of the fact that, let me get to this. So he is wanting to have a Supermax. And now he gets to opt in to his last year. I'm about to make you sick when I say this, sir. He's opting into his last year of his contract, and he's now about to earn $47 million.
Hell.
There's a cap you need to wear, Mr. Westbrook. There's one you need to wear, and it says stop the before it. Because we all know that you, sir, profited off of having these season triple doubles to get that big time contract, and then you got a chance to be on a team where your contribution was going to be paramount to your team's success, and you fell flat on your face, and the team fell flat on its face along with you. And it's to the point now, sir, where you get offended if someone doesn't simply drop to their knees, open their mouths, and grab your member and insert it in their mouths, because they actually see that basically if you existed the way you shoot in 1996 and you were looking at Tupac, this is how he would look in 2022. This was all evident. Mr. Glass and Mr. Davis, Russell Westbrook, who is a turnover gaff machine. Dwight Howard, whose best years are way behind him. Rajon Rondo, the same thing with him. Carmelo Anthony, who now is a sixth man, and he's barely holding on to being a sixth man at that.
Yeah, barely.
And a guy who then was 36 years old, but you hopped along the wagon along with the other bronze sexuals and saying that he is the best player in the game today and that he by himself could take a team to the championship. Well, I want you all who believe that even now, I want you to have those words sink into your brain. That individual is possible to take a team on his own accord to a championship. Here at Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, this is what we believe. Can that man who wears number 6 for the Lakers take that organization to a championship by himself? Can that man who is number 6 take that team to a championship?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
Can that man who wears the purple and yellow and wears number 6, who now is 37 years and 5.5 months of age, take an organization, the Lakers, by himself to the championship in 2023?
Bitch, are you for real?
Can this individual, who now will be in his 20th season when he sets foot on the court, take the team that plays in the Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena, all the way to a parade on Figueroa Street come June of 2023?
Bitch, please.
It is because that team, Mr. Perkins, that the king, Yo Kang too, sucker, wants to claim that is the best in the world is old.
What?
Is decrepit.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Is slow.
What?
What?
Is aged.
What?
What?
Is in need of AARP assistance.
What?
What?
Who needs to understand that there's more to basketball than just his own talent.
What?
What?
They can't shoot.
What?
What?
They can barely dribble.
What?
What?
They most certainly can't rebound.
What?
What?
They have an issue playing together.
What?
I
What?
said they have an issue playing together.
What?
What?
I said they have an issue playing together.
What?
What?
They have chemistry issues. I mean, it is
What?
absolutely ridiculous how you all went on and I mean, you along with the rest of the four-letter network gobbled that all up. You all had in September and early October, you said that every other team in the league can make it to the championship, but it's all second place because the team that is clad in yellow and gold, they're going to win the world championship. All of yes. All of yes, as one of them would say, said that.
You for real?
Now, I have this to ask. Mr. Perkins, I know you played in the league. Not all that well, I may add, because I know you were an enforcer. And I understand the game thoroughly. So I know you weren't meant to score. So I can't just look and say, well, you didn't average double figures, so that means you suck as a basketball player. So don't come at me with that type of crap, Mr. Perkins. I know that you were meant to rebound, you were meant to intimidate, you were meant to be physical. And I understand there is roles for that particular type of player, and that's who you were.
Yep.
So with that being said, I know that you were okay in your role, but you weren't elite in it. But do I feel as though you are a great analyst? Do I feel as though you are a good analyst? Do I even feel that you are an average analyst? Do I even think that you are a poor analyst? Sir, you are no analyst at all. You basically are holding pom-poms in your hand for whichever guy you think is great. One of them being LeBron James. Yes, I know I cursed and I went in and cursed. Another is James Harden. You remember the take that you said back in February when he joined the 76ers to become at one with one Joel Embiid. You said, quote, James Harden and Joel Embiid are the next Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Close quote.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Before I continue, let me get to this chat real fast because I need to do this. 6 says, Cole, I'm sure Morris Day said it best with, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here. Yes. One of my favorite sayings of anybody. The way he delivered it is priceless. Sick also says, were they trying to instigate as they speculated? Talking about ESPN with Deebo Samuel. 6 says, Cole, was his bread butter with actual butter or can't believe it's not butter? I think it's the latter, sir. 6 says, dang, Cole, How come podcast to be? Come podcast to have a mustache like Reverend Al Sharpton in this meme? I'm with Andrew in that response to sick. All right, back to business. I love you guys in the chat. Back to business. Mr. Perkins, you have the nerve, the unmitigated gall, the audacity to come out of your mouth to compare Harden and Embiid to Kelby and Shaq. And then you said after that 1 week later, as they compile 4 victories, quote, I misspoke. I didn't mean that James Harden and Joel Embiid are actually like Kobe and Shaq. No. Actually, James Harden and Joel Embiid, they actually are the next Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Carry on.
Good
quote.
Good bleeping grief.
That crap actually came out of his mouth. And yes, the very first thing that came into my head as soon as those syllables were uttered out of his mouth was Teddy.
You for real?
In fact, it pretty much went like this for about maybe, I'll give you 10 seconds of about what happened in my head for about a solid 3 minutes.
You for real? 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 You for real?
That's how I felt. Literally, that loop kept playing in my head constantly. And what I do not quite understand about you, sir, is that you will backtrack quicker than a hoe on the dance floor when she hears juveniles back that behind up. You went from this is the team that's going to win it all to what you saw it was going all the way south, not even in the Heat series, but you started to see it a little bit in the first round when they played the Raptors. You were like, well, no, they really aren't. And why was that? It was because my partner and I said it to you as clear as day, fool. James Harden is not the big time player you think he is, because when it comes to mid-April and later, he shrinks a little shorter and smaller than mini me, because he keeps coming up short and keeps coming up short and keeps coming up short. And when you wanted to sell the narrative that he never had someone as competitive, well, he has actually had someone more competitive than him, and that would be Chris Paul. Never had someone as elite, and never had someone as talented as a teammate in Joel Embiid. I will bring you to when he actually went to the finals, talking about Harden. He actually had one who was and is more talented than Embiid, and I love Embiid, but that would be one Kevin Durant.
Right.
I said to you all then, you all are absolute mental midgets.
Midgets.
This man will come up smaller again, even with Embiid. And you all can say, well, Embiid, he was injured. He had the orbital fracture thing. Yes, that still doesn't matter. He was still on the court. And what did Harden give you? He gave you one big game. One. And what did I tell you on this show? I said in a given series, he'll give you one, maybe two good games. But for the rest of a series, even if
shrinks.
you win, he shrinks, he vanishes, he disappears quicker than Houdini would. That is him. And you ignored that, Mr. Perkins, just like you ignored the Lakers being absolute bumbling idiots. And you, sir, you fit the utter blasphemy train too. You fit all of this. Yes. Because you, in your mind, still think LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. Yes, LeBron James looking like he is a clone of the game. And he and looks like he can make a mixtape, but he probably doesn't know how to spell the word, much less make one. You, Mr. Perkins, have a brain matter the size of an ant. And I just don't understand why you simply do not have the capacity to think longer than maybe what a first grader can in just seeing this product. And you have played on an NBA court, but you still come up with these whack hackneyed takes. Come on, dude. It's to the point where you now are a caricature yourself because you're now proud that your Celtics are up 2-1 and you went on the campus of Harvard University wearing graduation gear, having the gap in the crown and all that, and having a big Harvard mug that was as big as your body. And we're talking about a guy who's 6'11" and probably goes about 400 pounds now. And I'm not being funny. I'm being truthful. You are a caricature of yourself, but you know what I think you do when you're in Port Arthur, Texas, and that is near where I called home for many years, and that's Houston. You, sir, must do this quite often.
So good.
I'm through with that fool. All right, 6 says, in the words of Dave Chappelle, should I be surprised? No, none of us should be. And he says he was doing the back pedal like it was in 76. He must have had flashbacks of dancing on Soul Train. Sick also says, has Perkins ever been in the studio or on a broadcast with Stephen A. Smith? Yes, he has.
Yes,
that would be a good.
And I turned the television off.
Yes, he has.
I saw them in the same place, and they were all right. 1 hour from now on BS3 TV, it's the lunch break, the Friday version with Andre Jones. Another full 4 completed. Thank you to Ben Sudderth. Thank you to Sam Shady, also Todd Hamilton and Mike Debate for joining us, and thank you to all the fans in the chat that have viewed us and that has saw us on YouTube or Facebook or the BS3 TV network on Roku TV. It's the top of the hour. We're out of here. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
then they aren't big enough. Also, thank you to Chris Bass. Because
thank you, Chris Bass. Definitely gotta thank Chris Bass. Yes. One more time for those of you in the cheap seats at the old Summit at the old Chicago Stadium. If your dreams don't scare you,
then they are not big enough.
Dream big, do bigger. That's what everyone involved with the show is doing. That's what Cole is doing. That's what I am doing. The folks in the chat and all of our guests. And we're going to continue to do it. The Snowman Show makes its debut very, very soon. Cole Johnson will be involved. Cole, take us out of here. We're out. See you Monday.
All right. And we will come back. We will review Game 4 and preview Game 5 also of the NBA Finals. And along with that, we'll have some more hijinks because we know we'll have many prisoner of the moment takes. For Brian Snow, I am Cole Johnson. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. And until then, see ya.
Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.